Welcome in to Shoot the Gap, a little expedited version, because if you've been under a rock today, you've missed some news. If you've been on Twitter like everybody else that, you're watching from or talking to us, you've seen that today must be trade day, injury day, cut day, all kind of rolled into one. And we want to jump on and discuss it with everybody. And we're here for the long haul, as long as we want to talk, because today was supposed to be, it still is, our 2022 prediction show. We're going to have, I have no layover or any type of sound drop, which I thought I would have something clever, but I don't. But instead, I bring with me Mike Wohlert and Hollywood. Hollywood dressed up for the occasion, came in as a pumpkin in honor of pumpkin spice latte season through Starbucks. The basic bitch that he is PSL ready to go. And Mike is, of course, professional dancer, slow jazz musician, IDP extraordinaire. Hello, gents.
Yes, hello. And I only hope to grow up one day and be like smooth jazz.
I hope so too.
Everybody wants to be me. Women want to be with me, and men want to be me. Is that what the line is? Is that what Ravishing Rick Rude said?
Yes.
Women want to be with me. Men want to be with me.
Which, by the way, not to make this a wrestling pod, but back in the day when he used to wear his opponent's wife's picture on his
that's
trunks,
what I was fixing to say.
Mm-hmm.
That is the flex move of all flex moves. If you ever want to inspire a generation of just badasses,
and to double down, their face is like,
right, you're just
right, yeah.
Their nose is his.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I love when wrestlers troll like that. Like when Seth Rollins came out in the Dusty Rhodes polka dots.
Yes.
Oh, the polka
dots.
God,
awesome.
Those were good times. You know what else was a good time? When the New York Giants had Blake Martinez as a starting linebacker, and we all had a top 8 linebacker. And I got to tell you, there were many conversations I was having with Gary Davenport, who went as far as saying Blake Martinez might move up into his top 2 or 3 overall just because of the chaos that was happening at the top of the linebacker group. You had go ahead.
I had him in my top 5. I feel like the Giants know that I was his biggest fan, and they did this just to spite me.
It does make sense. The clock struck midnight, and Blake Martinez turned into a pumpkin. Unfortunately, and so that's what you're dressed up as.
Somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, let's do that, Mike. If you had one spot besides, of course, Seattle,
I do not want him going to Seattle. He cannot go to Seattle. I have way too much Cody Barton everywhere for him to go to Seattle and just mess everything up, which means that's where he's going.
Correct.
I tweeted 5 potential landing spots. I'll just say Chargers right now is I wouldn't mind him on the Chargers.
That'd be hell on wheels right there.
Someone
makes sense.
Someone responded to my tweet and suggested the Steelers please get rid of Devin Bush, and I can't disagree with that either.
I can't either. No, that's a great. I mean, that would be a good.
So
I think
I don't know that I don't like the Chargers the best.
Oh, I got to tell you,
with Derwin James behind him. Oh my god,
I hate it because I don't want to see the West have to deal with that right there, and the Chargers are nasty. I want him to go, even though it's still in the AFC. I want him to go to Baltimore. That way, I don't have to listen to Patrick Queen's name mentioned anymore.
He was in one of my 5.
Okay, and what?
I don't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned Tennessee. I don't know that would happen.
Tennessee was in one of my 5.
So I just don't know with Cunningham and Long if they would entertain that. And I guess maybe some of this is based on price tag for him too, right?
Has to
possibly
be. I mean,
I think the Giants only saved $3 million by cutting him, so they don't get a whole lot of money. So there must have been some sort of tension going on.
I'm just confused.
Because I saw that he was excused from practice yesterday, and then all of a sudden today it's like, yeah, that's it with us. So
here's
it had to be something pretty significant
Yeah.
for them to want to roll with Tay Crowder and Micah McFadden, which McFadden's a rookie, right? I get that on his part.
Yeah, fifth round untested rookie, and that really puts the Beavers.
But you're going to roll with Tay Crowder? I mean, something's not right. Something had to be significant for them to try to even want to do that.
I mean, I'm no defensive guru or coach, but Tay Crowder's not a good football player.
No. And I can just, even if I didn't follow defense at all, and all I wanted to do is go to a source that said, how does a person rank amongst their peers? And Mike, where did Tay Crowder rank amongst his peers? Didn't you say he was 36 of 36?
Well,
on the Giants.
On PFF, he was 36 out of 36.
Yeah.
So a big, huge red. His overall grade, according to PFF, was 29.1.
Just by being on the team, he got 25. Yeah.
So that is, and Blake Martinez. I mean, Blake Martinez is not Ray Lewis either. He has his warts.
Sure.
But Martinez ranked, according to PFF, they had him graded as a 57.8. So, this is very interesting to me as far as what the Giants are going to do. But yeah, I think in terms of Martinez's landing spots, I think even someone said Denver wouldn't be bad. I don't think I'd mind him in Denver. I've been suggesting a lot of Josie Jewell to people. That would kind of put a kibosh on those Josie Jewell shares. But I think he's definitely better than Alex Singleton, and I think he's better than Jonas Griffith. But if he goes to somewhere like, if he goes to like New Orleans, will blow things up. I mean, if he goes to like Green Bay, that'll blow things. If he goes back to Green Bay, because that'll blow up Quay Walker.
Right.
Would Dallas be an option?
I wouldn't even. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him seeing in Dallas. That would be funny though to see him go to Dallas and play in the division 2 times. Dallas would be bad because you got Leighton Vander Esch. Micah Parsons plays everywhere, so
maybe a more pass rush
or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But I think as of right now, there's. What about the Jets? See, I don't like Quincy Williams, so it wouldn't bother me if he went.
Well,
to
they
the
still
Jets.
have C.J. Mosley, so I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. So they would keep those two on the field, but Mosley kind of graded not great either. But There's a few spots where if he went, it would really have like a domino effect in a bad way to some of the other guys.
Correct. There's not too many landing spots. Number one, there's the landing spots that we've talked about that the team is a contender that would be willing to take on a salary to upgrade their defense as a whole. I think we've just talked about. I think each one has been mentioned. I think the Chargers is an answer. I think the Ravens are an answer. I think Dallas is in contention. And there's sprinkles here and there. The worst thing to happen would, of course, be to step on any of our dreams, a la the Cody Bartons, a la the Quay Walkers of the world. Even though Quay Walker and Green Bay,
even the Chiefs. Like if you went to the Chiefs,
absolutely.
Chiefs, I like Bolton, but then who knows what that's doing to Bolton and Gay, and that's up.
Exactly. That's a great call because that's exactly what you don't want is, well, even with Green Bay hasn't really played more, they would love to stick with just kind of between the 1 or 2 linebackers max on the field at any given time and not put a ton on. Quay just falls down considerably. Yeah. Here's a question I have for you guys. Do you think that there's a chance? So, and again, this is the money side of it where I could say something and just be ignorant, but of all the talk that Chicago had about wanting to move on from Roquan, maybe Roquan wasn't a better fit for that team, but it just seems like maybe you have 2 disgruntled people, or at least a disgruntled organization and a disgruntled player, and you might try to talk with Chicago and say, here, because Chicago could bring Blake Martinez in. That wouldn't be a bad move.
Right.
I don't think that there would be I don't think Matt Eberflus would say, no, we don't want Blake Martinez. And I don't think that Wink would say no to Roquan.
Right.
But I don't know. Right. There's clearly, I don't know everything when it comes to that. Maybe words will come out. We'll find out more tomorrow. As to exactly why Hollywood from a what the hell to I am terribly sorry. I think we're all
actually. What if Martinez lands with Atlanta?
God. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
for the first 5 weeks, it would be great for Martinez not to worry. But then Deion Jones would just be gone after that. They would just have to find a suitor for him.
I think they would just what would they do in Atlanta? They would probably just put his money and contract into a nice slow cooker and let that thing burn for 13 hours and drop him, right?
Exactly.
Just eat eat that contract and just eat that contract. Let it slow cook. Let it smoke.
He goes to Atlanta. That kills Rashawn Evans' value.
That kills.
And it would kill Troy Anderson early on.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not complete dynasty, but year one.
You'd find between Walker and him. Oh, attaboy. Was it called back? Is there a flag? For you listening at home, listeners, that is Hollywood get excited that his Tennessee Volunteers are playing the Ball State Cardinals, and he is up 7-0 in the first quarter. And I believe
it's only 7-0. Then that's a loss.
They
shouldn't be up like 21.
Should be up by 20. At this point, the pace they were on, it's bad. But at the pace
are you sweating your 9.5? Are you sweating your first quarter?
No, I already won it. It's 10-0.
It's 10
again. Yeah, they're on the 15s, fixing to score again. So,
well, sweet. So everybody listening, just let Hollywood know, Venmo him a request, and he will send you a portion of the winnings as a thank you for listening. He might need to send the money to Tennessee to potentially look for.
Well, I might have to actually send it to St. Louis, to Anheuser-Busch,
I'll take it on their behalf. I'll send you some.
Yeah, I'm sure you
don't
will.
get it cheaper. It's just as expensive here as it is there. I did get 2 new Budweiser cans. They're the Molina and the Wainwright ones.
Oh, I hate you.
Oh, that's bad. You want me to find some and get them?
Yeah, if you can find me too, I'll pay you for them. Yes, absolutely.
Don't worry about it. If I get them, I'll send them to you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
From a positive, there's that to now I'm going to kick you in the nuts because we're going to talk about Harold Landry and the torn ACL.
Oh,
and
why does the universe hate me?
It was a rough one. I mean, it's here. I don't know where you guys had Harold Landry, how high you had him. I had him as my defensive lineman. I've already made adjustments. I took him and put him out. So I don't remember if I had him at 13 or 14, right around there. And so it's a killer.
Well, unfortunately, he was a linebacker for me, but he was in my 50s. So I had to take him out. But yeah, had I had him in like the L edge, he would have been top 15 for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I look back at it and he was one of 3 players last year that had 70 tackles and 10 plus sacks, or 70 plus 10 plus. So if you had him at defensive end,
that
was a cheat. Yeah, that was
fantastic. Absolute gold. And with that many tackles, it kind of made him a solid linebacker option. I mean, not top tier, but it made him worth a look, right? So
yeah.
So
who's the guy in Tennessee now? Who would you go after?
I think Rashard Weaver. If you ask me,
that's who I'm going with. Yeah,
he led all of preseason.
He
had 10 pressures in the preseason. He's a big. He's 6'5", 270. He missed 2019 at Pitt. But Hollywood, tell us a little bit more about him, since I know you have the finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I mean, he's been running first team, second team all preseason. I mean, they're trying to get him in there. Of course, the hope was Landry and Dupree were going to be your 2 guys, right? I mean, Dupree was coming back from injury last year, so you didn't really get to see. And then Landry did his thing. So behind those 2, they're thin and they're young. And I think they're going to roll with Weaver. And Vrabel really, in his press conferences, you could tell he's trying to slow play it, but you can pick up on it. He really likes Weaver. So, and he's a big dude. He's a big, strong, power dude. So,
yeah, that's what it's looked like.
6'5", 270.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, moves well from everything that I've read. I mean, a lot of positives about Rashard Weaver. The thing is I think that you're going to mix in, was it Danico Autry is there as well?
Yes.
And so he'll
Simmons
rotate. Correct. And, ultimately, it's just a loss that you're not going to be able to make up from a pass rush standpoint.
And I wonder if they look at free agency, since they are so young and thin behind those 2, Dupree and Landry. I wonder if – I haven't looked to see who's available right off, but I wonder if there's somebody cheap maybe they could pick up as a rental, if you will.
Yeah.
I've just not looked to see who's out there yet.
Right.
Between the Landry and the Martinez, I'm ready to jump off a cliff here. So.
Exactly. Bud Dupree's going to be fine on the other side, but it would be nice to have a piece from a rotation. You have to have rotation. And I'm looking at right now, the defensive line, maybe the outside linebacker free agency would probably be a better thing to look at, Nate, since that doesn't help. And it's super thin.
Devon Kennard.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first name.
Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is D Ford hurt or not?
I don't know.
Toure
went back to San Francisco. I would have liked Toure, but he went back to San Francisco, I think.
I do like Toure. Yeah.
So, I don't. With it being so thin, I think Weaver's going to be the option. I think that's where you're going to look first, especially since they like him so well.
Yeah, and if granted it's preseason, but to have 10 pressures through the preseason is pretty stellar. And I'm not going to say that means that I want to take a look at him season long, but maybe in a dynasty or at least even a taxi squad to pay attention to. Here's the question: what's the ancillary effect on a David Long? Do we think that gives him more chances does the tackle floor improve by 10 tackles because you have less pressure and more plays as a result?
Well, I think it helps him and Cunningham both, right? And maybe even trickles back to your safeties a little bit with Byard.
Which I will say, Hollywood, by the way, I've done my AFC South primer for Fantasy and Frames. When it comes out for the AFC South, if anybody wants to take a look, I covered all obviously the defensive portion of everything. And what I came away with is that it reads like this. So in 2018, when they drafted him, pay dirt of all pay dirts for a 64th overall pick. He's played every game and 98.7% of every snap. He, since that time, is fifth amongst all defensive backs and tackles. He's fifth in interceptions. He's 20th in passes defensed. He's 13th in quarterback hits, and he's 25th in sacks. That is what he's done since being drafted with the 64th pick. So hats off to you, Tennessee. And you're hyped for Kevin Byard. I thought, he likes him. Maybe I should move him up a couple spots. But as a result of doing a little bit digging, I was very impressed with the overall play. Consistency, you can't predict that, but 99% of every snap is pretty incredible. What else are some things?
I know we're kind of defense here, but I just seen this go across my screen, and it hits all three of us, which is a coincidence here.
Oh.
All three of us, the Browns, the Chiefs, the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Tennessee has signed Gordon to their practice squad. The wide receiver.
You're right. That is.
So,
good luck with that.
That was kind of neat. The three of I'm not. Don't wish that on me, please.
There's a meme that's gone around. I think it's from Arrested Development. And the top square has one of the guys and a girl. Something like, this is going to work for us, right? And then the second one is like, no, really, in the history of things, this hasn't worked out. And then the third one is, but it should for us.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much Josh Gordon.
It is uncanny. Is there a person that more people? So I saw another one today, and they go, it was like Josh Gordon signs with his 13th NFL teams. Colin Kaepernick stands on the sidelines shaking his head. There's something to that. Like, how many chances are they going to give Josh Gordon? I saw or read or heard or whatever it was that one of my senses picked up. He's 91 receptions since 2015. That's how many. I mean, I think that if that doesn't say enough, everybody has said
that. I got to tell you, that 2012 or 2013 season
was insane.
Was absolutely unlike anything I've ever seen.
Almost Randy Moss
of a wide receiver, right? Let alone a Cleveland wide receiver, and the quarterbacks that were throwing to him. It was
pure
Brandon,
garbage.
It was Brandon Weeden, it was Jason Campbell, and it was Brian Hoyer.
Ugh.
And he missed 2 or 3 games.
And he played 13 games, I think, right? It's
think so,
it was that season. It was that season that has given him and granted him this hall pass of stupidity and this consistent second chance and everything else. It's
they showed his touchdown pass. I think it was against the Eagles. The Browns were on like the 5-yard line, and it was basically a dump off, and it doesn't even look like he's running that fast, but just his strides, he just outran these DBs, and it was Jacksonville, but he just
right. Well, that just goes to show you when you have elite talent, you will get unlimited chances. I mean, that's all that. I don't care what you do or whatever. When you're in that elite tier, you're going to get you're going to get the opportunity. So, wow. I mean, I wish it would work out, but I'm not counting on it. But
no,
man, you're right. That 2012 season was insane, and it kind of reminded me of Randy Moss a little bit with the way he just completely dominated that year. I mean, he was just on fire.
Yeah, it was 2013. Nope. Where did that go?
That was the year that was actually the year that I won my fantasy league that year, because I had both Josh Gordon and Jamal Charles.
Oh, and that was a waiver wire wonder, I think, in a lot of leagues that year. I think if I remember correctly, you could pick him up off waivers that year a lot.
He had Gordon? And he had 2012. He had 800. He had 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. But I don't know if that's. I mean, that's enough to maybe get him drafted the following year, but not as a high pick.
Yeah.
In the 159 targets, the 87 receptions, and 1,650 yards with near double-digit touchdowns.
And if you play in leagues where it's big play leagues, like the length of the touchdown is more points.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
My god. My league mates hated playing me week 15 and 16 because those were those. Because with just Jamal Charles and Josh Gordon. Because those final 3 weeks, I think Jamal Charles, that was like he didn't go for anything less than like 250 and 3 touchdowns. He had this insane Charles? 3-week run. Oh my, yeah, they hated me. You're like, you motherfucker. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, I kept Jamal Charles. Sorry.
Yeah. Those were the years. Those were the years. I do wish Josh Gordon well, as far as from a personal level. It's not, you want to see him battle and get through that. And, it's easy from an outsider, but man, if I had the opportunity to make millions upon millions of dollars, I'm probably just going to quit smoking some weed for a minute, and maybe just, and I know it might go deeper than that, but I know for the majority of time, that was a huge portion of it. But
at least understand the cycle of testing. It's like, all right, my NFL drug testing begins on February 1st, so I need to stop on like December 1st and give myself enough time for it to cycle out of my body.
Yeah. And there's so many stories about them saying that it was him admitting to smoking like the day before the test or the morning of, and just giving yourself 2 days ain't going to do anything. But the cycle. They try to give you things. From one bonehead move, at least and that stuff shouldn't be illegal anyway, because that stuff is safer for pain killing than any of the stuff that they're taking right now. Correct. 100%.
Pills and everything else. Yeah, absolutely.
And they're quick to shoot you up on the sideline to get you back in the game. But if you said, hey, give me a gummy, let me run back out, you're suspended for 4 games or whatever it is.
Although I don't think weed is looked at as. I don't even think they do anything for weed anymore now with this latest collective bargaining agreement. If I recall,
I think that sounds about right. And they shouldn't. If it's legal and get soon to be every state. I get it. If he's running if you're driving a forklift, if you're driving kids on a school bus, don't smoke weed. Don't do that. Yeah. What's always been unallowed? Taking a gun, waving it at a car full of underage girls, and getting arrested for it. That is what Marcus May did. That is what he's allegedly been arrested for. Aggravated assault with a firearm. Supposedly, he pointed a weapon at a car full of juvenile females. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's an accurate picture. I'm reading from what I saw on NFL.com. If I'm wrong, so be it. But that is not just the end. That also is just a compounding issue of previous stupidity. Back in February of 21, he was arrested for DUI facing a civil suit also where he was involved in an accident as a result. Now the people are suing him for, I think, like 30 grand or whatever it is, which just get rid of that. Why would you let that fester any longer? But he's fighting those, and he's fighting those charges, and he is out for, indefinitely. I think that he may miss the whole season, honestly, if he's suspended for both. And who's that next man up? You guys have any preference when it comes to that? Because I think, like we've said, he was so far off all of our radars, and it's not exactly a role that is bubbling with opportunity, a free safety in New Orleans that is on a cycle or rotation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, I don't even know how New Orleans safeties even score. I don't think they're very. I don't think they've ever been top since Malcolm Jenkins has been there. Since I think Malcolm Jenkins was really one of their top scorers. Was one of the top scorers.
And that's about
you've got Tyrann Mathieu there, right? And then
correct.
You've got, I don't even know who their other safeties are.
Their backup safety right now, who had the best preseason, was Justin Evans, and he graded out extremely well in the preseason. Had a grade of in the 90s. A lot of that was predicated on the one interception and the pass breakup that he had. But that would be who I guess would fill in. But Daniel Sorensen has the most experience. I'll let you guys take over. I'm going to go throw up on my mouth real fast. 1 second. Pause. Talk amongst yourself.
Oh.
All right. I am back. And that was gross. Not as gross as New Orleans will have to watch Daniel Sorensen, but just mark the word. Just watch. Sorensen's going to have one of those weeks where he just, does something. He's in the right place at the right time. And he has a pick six, gets 5 tackles, and has something like that, and somebody somewhere will have him in their waiver wire article. And when that happens, I want us all to mock that person incessantly, unless it's me. And if that's the case, I have been hijacked by somebody else. You know that it's not my account. Excuse me, my account. More throw up in my mouth from Daniel Sorensen. Yeah. So, Mike, Green Dot News, TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards, which I kind of had a feeling, but it was confirmed. Isaiah Simmons in Arizona. And that's really kind of it right now. I'm kind of scoping things out, just kind of seeing what's going on, but not a whole lot. But as of right now, yeah, those are the 2 confirmed.
Nice.
Simmons and TJ Edwards. But
Simmons is interesting case.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
Yep.
I'm not. I'd be cool with him as my LB3, but I don't know. I'm not. If you're reaching for him for your LB1 just because of the dot, I don't think I would do that. I think with him playing all over the field, I think it's kind of limit some of his tackle efficiency because he was already only at 10% last year. And for someone that played over 1,000 snaps, he had a very similar role last year, but they just are putting a name to it now. So he's going to have a very similar role. So is that, and then I don't know if they have a better pass rush with JJ Watt. I don't know. The opportunity is going to be even more limited. So LB3, like I said, but yeah, the not very efficient for having over 1,000 snaps.
Right, exactly. And their correlation probably to the more times, the further you are away from the ball, the less likely you are for tackles, which that was one thing at the Expo that I found out that they actually track. And I'm still trying. Dwayne McFarland, if you're listening, Dwayne, remember our conversation in between the bunch of shots we were doing? They track distance off the line of scrimmage. Or I think it was maybe Marcus was telling me that. Shit. It doesn't matter. It all runs together. Expo. It's like the Catalina wine mixer is what I'm going to start referring to that as. But so they monitor like yards off the line of scrimmage from your starting position amongst linebackers, but they don't release it to like the general public information. I would love to have that because you imagine if you could isolate.
Now, who is this? What site is this?
PFF.
Okay, yeah.
It's like they're behind the scenes stuff, But yeah, what an amazing potential tool. But what would we do with it? The same thing I do with everything else. I overanalyze everything.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think that, Isaiah Simmons this week was at 3.7 yards.
Yeah.
Last week he was at 4.1. That I'm going to move him up, and then it's just like with everything.
Yeah. So it's analysis paralysis at some point.
It's exactly what it turns into. Trying to be smarter than the rest of the people, and it just, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Don't ever quit grinding and trying to find ways.
It's all a piece of the puzzle. It all tells a story. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, and like kind of going back to the Giants. I think with Martinez release, now we kind of have to look at, all right, well, who are the next people up, and who are your targets in New York now that Martinez is gone. Mm-hmm. Speaking of throwing up in your mouth, you have Tate Crowder.
Exactly.
How long are they? I mean, let me just say, I think I suggested someone put in about 10 to 15% of your fab budget. Don't overblow. Don't go all in on this guy. And if you miss out on him, it's okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long they can go with 17 games with this guy as their main linebacker. So volume wise, it's probably going to be him, but I'm not feeling good about it.
Yeah.
He's very susceptible in coverage. I think he missed 12 or 13 tackles last year. So, what'll be interesting though to see is if I'm not mistaken, Martindale like to use 3 safeties. So I think in terms of your safeties, I think that's kind of where some of your value will lie within the safety position. Right. So I know Xavier McKinney's probably calling the play. So McKinney's wearing the dot. So, and I know he kind of he played a lot of deep snaps last year. So I'm hoping some of those transfer over. I think they really like Julian Love. I think he's a captain.
Yep.
So I think you're probably going to see a lot of him. I'm really bummed Beavers got hurt because I think he looked like he was kind of second in line. Right. I was kind of bummed that he got hurt.
Thoughts on McFadden?
So that's what
fifth round pick, untested. I don't know. And you've got Austin Calitro, really? Mm-hmm. So
I think everything.
I'm stunned that they cut him. I really am. Yeah. I'm just stunned.
Just for the fact he's a veteran player.
I know.
Right. You know what you're getting with him, and you know what you're getting with him. But yeah, they're like I think we said earlier, something must have gone on. But I think you're probably gonna see a lot of 3 safeties, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Crowder. I don't know Crowder. I can't see.
Oh.
I can't see him on the field.
I can't even say his name.
Yeah, I don't understand
That's
it.
horrible.
Well, I just want to see. So here's the thing with McFadden that going into the season that had me intrigued is the usage of blitzing in a Wink Martindale defense coincides with how McFadden through college his benefits, if you will, some of the pros. And if you look at preseason, they put him in on 22 pass rush snaps. Mm-hmm. He had 4 pressures as a result. So you have a pressure rate, around 20%, roughly 18% there. He had 9 tackles in the preseason. He didn't miss any. So-so in coverage, nothing special there. But that's all of these scenarios. I'm extrapolating 101 snaps into breaking it down. Yep. If McFadden as a linebacker can have a sustainable tackle floor, the pressure upside, if they blitz him as much as what they could, would make him much more appealing to me than Tate Crowder ever would be.
Absolutely. And those pass rush metrics certainly followed from Indiana, because I think he had a 26% rate at Indiana.
That right. Wow. Nice.
And huge. So big time pressure up, from as an inside, and even when he was playing weak side and outside. So those definitely sound like they've translated. And I got to tell you, if you're in Dynasty or even redraft in a deep league, and if you're just kind of shooting for upside, that's kind of the guy I'll take a chance on.
Mhm.
And if you know what, he doesn't end up playing the snaps, then you know what, you just kick him to the wire and you just kind of keep playing it. But McFadden, probably the guy you want in Dynasty.
Yep.
Like I said, Beavers, what did Beavers suffer? ACL?
ACL. Yep.
Yep.
So, you kind of stash him maybe on IR if you're in, or maybe if you can put him on the taxi. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably taking a chance on that pass rush upside that you said, and McFadden is probably the guy I'm going to probably target.
Yeah, I'll pay attention. If there's one added little final piece on McFadden to pay attention to is it looks like in his days in Indiana, the missed tackle rate was nearing 20%, and that was a concern. Now with Martindale leaving Baltimore and having to watch Patrick Queen miss that many tackles, my guess is the leash would probably be short.
Yep.
But it can't be that short because there's nobody else back there. You have to have someone on the field. And so that was the one thing is he had to prove it. He's going to be given the chance. Sean stopped in to say hi. Hey, Sean, how you doing, mate? Yeah, it's been a tough IDP day. That is an understatement of the day. If you just joined us, Sean, we did talk about everything else so far up until now. But if you have any questions or anything, obviously, I mean, we're just in mourning. Yeah, we're in mourning.
Especially me. I feel like I'm being attacked today.
This is. But you're right there too. Beavers was ahead of McFadden, but I think that it was so far off of our radar that we were going to even have to worry about. About it. I wasn't even paying attention.
Right.
I mentioned Beavers just as a potential dynasty chip. I'm like, I think this is the kid that's being groomed for when Martinez gets let go next year, because this is it.
Right.
He's a free agent next year.
And that's perfect. And now it sucks because he's going to have to start over next year and rebuild. And you hope from if it's McFadden's time, don't get me wrong, the path to snaps isn't that difficult if the only person standing in front of you is Tate Crowder. Exactly. Pretty simple. Beavers might be able to do it with the torn ACL.
Maybe
limp out there and throw a couple tackles down and get that starting role.
But yeah, now, I think Martinez being released like he was is probably that. I think if you take a look at like the offensive equivalent, I think we were talking about. I mean, would it be someone like J.K. Dobbins or if Cam Akers? If you saw Cam Akers was released, that would kind of put in a kind of a ripple. That would be a no shit, right? Or if J.K. Dobbins was released, that would be a no shit, right?
Yeah. Yep. Imagine if there was no such thing as offensive IDP and the offensive fantasy. The only fantasy football was IDP, and Blake Martinez gotten hurt. Not only would it be something like a JK, it would actually be something like, oh shit, CMC's hurt again or Saquon's hurt again, because that's the level that he's, from an overall perspective. But you're right. Can you imagine if? Let's hope it's not. Which, by the way, J.K. Dobbins. Did you see he responded to a person's tweet who remember who it was, but they showed him doing a couple like blocking drills and release. Limping, and they said that it looks like he's limping, and he's like, fuck you, man. What am I supposed to walk like a robot? And they're like, well, no, you could walk without a limp. You don't have to walk like a robot. Maybe without the significant limp. I worry about J.K. Dobbins. Let me flip this real quick one more time since we're incorporating offense. What is the effects that you think on Saquon and the offense as a whole if the Giants, without Blake Martinez, their defense should be on the field a little bit more? Does that mean that Saquon's going to be on the field less? Or is this a positive we can spin and say that means they're probably going to be playing from behind even more if that's possible, and he might catch more passes?
I don't know that they'll be on the field more, but they could be on the field a little quicker, right? Like, there could be more 3 and outs from that defense. I mean, less 3 and outs.
Yeah.
But I can't. Oh, Jake, take credit.
They're still pretty solid up front. I mean, you've got Tomlinson up front, or not Tomlinson. You've got Dexter Lawrence up front.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
You've got Leonard Williams. I mean, you've got two young pass rushers,
but
Justin
Ellis is up there too.
Yeah, that we think are going to take a step up, but they're pretty but those two are pretty stout up front. So they've got a decent front four. But boy, once you get past the front four, I think the safeties are going to be doing a lot of cleanup.
Yeah, it's that second tier that's questionable without Martinez. Because you're going to have Love, you're going to have McKinney back there.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Mike. I could see the secondary. I think McKinney's the guy. Well, I mean, I guess Love too. I think both of them kind of tick up, right?
Yeah, I think McKinney and Love are primed for some solid seasons.
I
kind of blew off
Logan Ryan top role because he played corner at Notre Dame, switched to safety, and you're kind of seeing the same thing in the NFL. He's kind of playing wherever they need him, and he's been productive. So.
Yeah, I kind of wrote off Love during kind of the early part of the spring, but I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Let me take an honest look and let's see what's going on. So I kind of wrote him up as a potential breakout just because you never know. I wrote him up in June, not even knowing where the Martinez news, but a little bit more relevant now. I mean, maybe instead of like we've said, maybe instead of a Giants linebacker, you target McKinney and Love, and maybe those are the two guys that you go after.
I can see that. I mean, he's shown he's gonna be up on the line, and I want to know how much higher I could potentially move Xavier McKinney. Because right now he's right on the cusp of my DB1 right there. I want to move him higher, but again, it comes into that conversation of if he's higher up, who's dropping down. Yeah. And I don't want to put him ahead of Kyle Duggar. I don't want to put him ahead of Kevin Byard.
See, Duggar's interesting just because of I think Macri noticed a bunch of rotations. I'm not jumping ship on Duggar, but if you were to move McKinney above Duggar, I don't think I have necessarily a problem with that.
Interesting.
Just because of McKinney's role is pretty much locked in, solid. He's not leaving the field.
Yeah, and I think there's a good chance, and we'll actually get to that when we start talking about some of our predictions and everything, because I know that Hollywood was the anointed Xavier McKinney super fan from, I guess, what was that, 2 months ago when we kind of did our first rankings for the defensive backs, and I was right behind you. I've definitely been a fan since even really the days after he came out of Bama, but yeah, there's a chance he could lead the league in interceptions, and I don't think it would be a crazy outlandish statement to do so.
No.
And little side note, if you play in true position or a league where you have a corner eligible, Julian Love, according to Sean, is listed as a corner. That is a super cheat code, as long as it's not some kind of Yahoo-based scoring where passes defensed is 4.5 points or anything crazy to keep the corners up to pace or anything like that. But good little nugget of information. I don't play any IDP on Yahoo, though. I didn't honestly know they even had IDP. Isn't that sad?
They do.
I'm shitty at this, you guys. How are you guys still letting me do this with you? Because
I don't play on Yahoo that much either, so I'm kind of there with you.
Yeah, screw you, Hollywood. Now you're only getting the Wainwright Budweiser, not his best buds. It says that too across the bottom. I'm either way.
So interesting. So I got an interesting question that I wanted to pass along. Someone had tweeted me a question about Deion Jones for Dynasty. What are you doing? See, for me, I don't play a whole lot of Dynasty. So, and when I do, or if I have a keeper league, I suffer from severe FOMO. Yeah. That if I drop somebody that I really like, that I'm just that's it. So someone asked, what do I do? Do I drop him for someone like Nicholas Morrow or Dre Greenlaw? And I'm like, I don't know if I could drop him because he's going to be back in 5 weeks, and I've got to believe that he's going to hit the field because when you see Rashaan Evans in coverage, I don't
exactly.
I don't think that's going to be a good thing. So I would personally much rather either if you can IR Jones and pick up either Morrow or Greenlaw, or you know what, if you're just done with Jones, trade him. Just trade him for whatever you can if you don't want to deal with Jones anymore. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I couldn't outright drop him though.
I couldn't either. I agree with you. The FOMO thing kicks in, and I don't play in any leagues that are so shallow that dropping him means I could pick another Deion Jones-esque player. Now, for my preseason rankings, I moved him down quite a bit just because the percentage of games are going to go to the overall. But on a week-to-week standpoint, I would rather have him over, man, I don't want to say Nicholas Morrow. I'd say Greenlaw from week 6 on, just because I'm high, I'm so high on Morrow. But I don't know. I just wonder what the mentality in Atlanta is, because they, they don't want him there. We know that.
No, they don't. And when he played, I'm like, all right, cool. He's getting some snaps in. That's great. And then IR today.
Exactly.
Well, with him being IR, that helps Anderson. That helps Evans, right?
Oh yeah. With
especially
absolutely, with
big boost.
With Jones IR, I mean that pretty much tells you that one, Michael Walker's probably going to be calling the plays. That's what he was doing in the preseason. So I'd imagine that role is going to transition to the regular season. So there's your 3-down guy with Walker. I think they also did a little bit more with one linebacker. So I think they were a one linebacker team. If I remember in my notes, I think they did one linebacker maybe 25% of the time. It could have been a little bit more. So if they do go more one linebacker, that's certainly going to hurt Evans. Evans is not going to be obviously not going to be that is not going to be in the single. So you could see Evans maybe a 70 to 75% snap guy if that core transition. So I know Hollywood, you like Anderson, right? But again, for this year, who knows what?
Yeah,
I would. I'm hoping Anderson gets a good role, plays a little bit more than he would have had to. He looked like he had a good preseason, but I think he was playing mostly against the third teamers, the fourth teamers.
I know, and that's how all this is. But it's still, I'd rather him play good against shit competition than play bad against shit competition. Perma has a question or I don't know if it's a comment towards us, because I don't feel like we have. So maybe that's true. Maybe we are sleeping on Fatakasi, because he hasn't been brought up much. But as he mentions, also dynasty, not redraft, because he knows clearly the path to snaps in Tampa at the linebacking position is a muddied one with both David and Devin White. Of course, we hope that. What did Permanent tell us? So we missed some Devin White news or some Levante David news of injury or something.
Yeah, seriously,
it is fallout day before Friday.
Right, Perma's a big dynasty player. I'm in a couple of leagues with him, so really good fantasy manager. Nails it in this time of year, by the way. Free agency before the season starts, he does a good job. So
perfect. Well, good. Then Hollywood,
and of
you're
course,
out. And
of course,
come on in. You're going to replace him. Do you have any bright colored clothes that you could wear? It is pumpkin season.
Why you gotta hate on the orange, man? Why?
I'm an Illini, man. I like orange.
Well, here's the overreacting. So the league leader in tackles over during the preseason was Clay Johnston. So dump all of your Logan Wilson and go Clay Johnston.
Hey, yes, please do.
Exactly.
Please do. Oh shit! Please do that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Though that is the funny thing you say that, because if that was offensive, and we see it every year, from an offensive standpoint. Let's look at offense and who led
in yards, who was the running back that led in yards in the preseason.
Absolutely. And we know full well rushing grades. Let's go here. And who led in total yards for the entire preseason was DJ Dallas, which that got some hype. Remember, because all this there's
your 101 if you're drafting this weekend.
Exactly. DJ Dallas, followed closely by Jason Huntley, and Philly's just signed Chris Sermon and Britton Brown. Vegas has issues at running back. Caleb Huntley is next on Atlanta, who has issues at running back. it's
that could be legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Atlanta is.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what. I mean, that whole situation there. I've never trusted Cordell Patterson. I got burnt by Mike Amos.
Easy.
Oh, really? Calm down.
Easy. Don't be coming
just because
with
Dean
that.
Pease went there. Now you're a Falcons fan?
No, you're just hating on the Vols player. That's what it is.
Oh, well, he's probably great in college. He was good. It just took him 7 years to have a role in the NFL.
Shit. Get out of here.
I felt really like I needed a shower when I drafted Cordell Patterson.
Oh my God, I can't with you two. That's it. I'm never coming on this show again without Jorge. That's it.
Jorge's going to play Taylor Swift for you and make it about Cordell Patterson. He's going to write a love song, a breakup song by Taylor Swift about Cordell Patterson and how he's going to burn.
Of course he would.
Actually, by his, overall his ADP, I think he's a 36th running back off the board right now on half point PPR. He's not a terrible value for that, but it's gross. We've talked a lot about offense so far.
Although there was a funny. I did see.
Are we sick?
Although real quick, I did see a funny. I saw a funny tweet of players to not draft in each round, and in the 6th round, someone had David Montgomery. I'm like, all right, because it's not a bad pick because I drafted him in the 4th round.
That's great. That is so good.
I did not like drafting, and I did not like drafting David Montgomery though either.
It doesn't feel good, but
no.
I was anointed as a David Montgomery fan when really 2 years ago, as the second half came along, the schedule played out for him to be just set up to catch, I don't know, 6 balls a game. Every team he was playing allowed like the most passing yards to running backs, the second most, and he did. And so then it was, Nate loves David Montgomery. I love Jordan Montgomery too. He's a pitcher for the Cardinals.
Although
he's been
speaking
great.
Speaking of Bears and IDP, Nate, did you see who the Bears signed?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Your DL cheat code streamer is back on a team.
Did you, I put out the picture of Justin Fields when he did something at Ohio State bad, and he's just holding his helmet like this and shaking his head. And I said that's what when he saw Leatherwood signed. But yep, that was an ugly God. You want to talk about a bad situation. So hopefully I was not avoiding Justin Fields at all cost. It wasn't like I will not draft, but I wasn't targeting him. Mm-hmm. But I thought without Nagy there, maybe there was a chance that it could be, catered to him like a coach should do. Maybe you design a team around your starting quarterback, not try to fit a square peg into a round hole, right? And have him not do play action or bootlegs or anything that's, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but if I have a fast quarterback, that's kind of what I think. But all right, enough offense. We have a question about defense, and we'll start with the second part of it, of course, first. I get the feeling this is going to happen a lot between now and whenever, as long as Blake doesn't sign there. Oh, we're going to have to. One of you guys want to tackle this?
Drew Tranquil, I've always operated under the assumption that he was going to be the main LB there. With the Chargers. So
right.
I'm not factoring in any Kenneth Murray. I'd actually have Troy Reeder above Murray at this point in terms of the pecking order. Mm-hmm. But I'm operating under the assumption that Drew Tranquil, we can also add, as long as he's healthy, he's also going to be that he will be the linebacker to own. So he's always been an efficient tackler. It looks like, has a pretty decent tackle efficiency. So it's just the health, and that's been in it with him. Right. But as long as you're not counting on him as your LB1, if he's like your LB3 or 4, then I think you're in good shape.
Yep, I agree.
I'm right there with you guys. I mean, you hate to ever click, because if you even just clicking on his name just to search for Tranquil, just to see anything from the preseason or going up into it, he's I think they just tag. I think they put the questionable tag next to his name. Like, I think he went to the DMV and actually changed his name to Drew Tranquil questionable so that he can just have that questionable tag next to his name all the time, and it doesn't actually mean anything.
He's a 0 LB target if you choose to go that route,
which is an interesting strategy that I don't think a lot of people really think about, and I think that it's a very warranted, scary proposition.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
Really?
if you don't think it's scary. You don't think it's scary?
I guess I will be honest.
Zero
I've gone
linebacker with as deep as it is, though. That's definitely scary. But I'm just
deep,
thinking that's
it's deep, but it's again like the running. It's again like the running backs, because there's not like in your top 50 are they all 100% snap guys.
Yeah, but see, I'm not doing the zero running back either, and I don't want to do I'm zero. I'm hoping people do go zero running back because I'm attacking that position if that's the case.
Yeah.
I've gone into a draft saying, you know what, let me try zero LB, and no, I can't bring myself.
I can't even imagine. Oh,
no,
I'm a linebacker whore,
which you should be. I mean, I think that you should be. I think that it all comes down to. I mean, it's a math equation that you're doing. You're just saying, hey, I'm willing to wait at linebacker and hope that Drew Tranquil's 3.7 fantasy points per game, less than what I'll take as, with my LB1 that I would get, is a smaller amount than you taking Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa over the I don't even know which defensive ends towards the end you would have to end up taking. It's a balancing.
Yeah, I think you're giving away points with that. Running back zero running back zero.
I think
linebacker.
So too.
You're just you're giving points away. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I can't wrap my freaking head around that.
It's typically like what they say, a zero-sum game whenever you do that. And unless you can just hit on those. If you got lucky, and last year your zero LB strategy was Denzel Perryman.
And Devondre
Campbell. Then great. With those two right there, you would have been great.
What are the chances, though, again, of you hitting all of those, I guess, breakout guys or all those breakout guys? It's impossible.
It is. It's just, and we're not talking about a single one league, one chance, one shot in a little $10 league. You jump in and you're like, I've done it. You have to, I look at it as the law of averages over, assuming you play 10 different leagues or 5 different leagues, and you do that in every single league, the chances of your hit rate is maybe 1 out of the 5 leagues you play in that you're sustainable. And it's just not worth it. I don't want to be smarter than the room to win 1 league and lose 4. I'd rather go with consensus and take my linebackers early and win 4 and lose 1. So be it. That's my decision. But we have, I think we used our time wisely in jumping in a little early, because at the 58-minute mark now, we have covered pretty much everything happening up until this point. I think that we maybe mentioned we wanted to talk about if there were any big risers or fallers as a result of the preseason. But if we have any, obviously, if people have any, they comment, and you guys can comment. But if you want to jump in, was there any prediction categories that I didn't touch on that you guys would find interesting to mention a name or to have something? I think that they're pretty generic by definition, but I don't mind generic. I'm a fan of generic. Right. Hollywood, you want to jump right in? Is there I think that the one thing for anybody listening or watching that wants to know how we're going to do this is we're essentially going to take a look at the prediction or our guesses with the utmost confidence and a dark horse would like to see. I could see it happening. Player at defensive line, linebacker, and defensive back as a rookie. And then we're going to look at the overall defensive line, linebacker, defensive player of the year as far as who we think is going to score the most points. And then if we have some time, maybe look at some of the players like, the you're dead to me's or you're gone, like never to be seen again. Players that are in the last year, that this will be the last year their names mentioned, a la some of the names that we know we hate maybe this will be our wish, our goodbye wish to you, and farewell. So I guess without further ado, and also there will be people jumping in as soon as they're able to get in. I know it'll be a little. What time is it now? It's 8:24. See how I did that, you guys?
Yeah,
Eastern
look at
time.
you.
Look at you with the right time zone.
Look at you in the correct time zone.
Or
Wow.
2024 for our military listeners or healthcare professionals. Hollywood, let's start it, man. We might be in consensus with a lot of these. I get it, but
Okay.
we've talked a lot about rookies. Gets a little cumbersome and boring, I know, because it's the same ones typically over and over again. But if you had a defensive lineman rookie of the year and you have one vote to make, who you submitting the vote on?
Defensive line. So we're talking D tackles, D ends, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to even take outside linebacker with edge rusher in that, I have no problem
that's
with
kind of
that.
where I was asking. Man, you know, I'm going to stick with it. I think Kayvon Thibodeau's the guy for the rookie side. I think he's there. I know we got a little scare there early with the shot at the knee, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was truly a dirty play, but I think that play should be removed.
It happened to TJ Watt.
I was getting ready to ask you guys, TJ Watt.
Yeah, so I'm not blaming Hutchinson or whoever for, that's legit, right? For now, until they remove that play. That's part of it. And I will say this, as a side note, I've heard a lot of people say, well, Thibodeau didn't quite play that play right? And in reality, he didn't. He kind of let it happen in a way.
He kind of thought, hey, we're in preseason, we're going to take it easy, and that's
right. So his technique wasn't quite what it should have been. So I get that. I mean, Hutchinson, what he's done this preseason, he's put some people on notice, and I really like him. But I think for me, I'm going to stick with Thibodeau. I think could be a few more tackles his way now that Martinez is gone. So,
and let's see, the results of your answer would be. Sean says wrong. Sorry.
Well, nobody likes Sean. I don't know who invited him here.
I typically like Sean for the most part. Sometimes he dogs my shit. Well, whenever he's on, against Hollywood, then I'm Team Sean till he comes after me and my pick. But we'll see what that is. Mike, let's go to your defensive line rookie of the year.
I'm gonna go chalk, and it's probably because of the Hard Knocks bias. But I mean,
can't blame you.
I mean, Hutchinson just already looks like a veteran.
Looks the part, right?
Looks the second round pick, and just looks. If he ends up being a bust, we're all going to be like, "What the hell happened?"
That's exactly.
But he looks the part, and when you're already getting nods that like, yeah, this is you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and then some. I think I'm just going to go chalk. I think it's going to be Hutchinson.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I'm in agreement. I have Hutchinson as well. I think that my top three in order, number one is Hutchinson. That 2-3, I go back and forth on. I'm coming full circle on Trayvon Walker. I was out initially, but I'll tell you, all the reports and what I've seen is that right now he's dominating from the outside spot. And there's talk that on third downs and in other situational plays, they're going to move him to the inside. And my concern with him was his total snaps on the field. And I think if that goes up by 20%, 25% because of his involvement in maybe run plays and his run stopping supports an elevated tackle floor a little bit higher than just the sack volume, that could play wonders. Here's the thing, though. This is scenario with fantasy. From a defensive rookie of the year, if they gave one to each position, it would only be who led the league in sacks, because that's the only real category they care about, and that's Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
Sean, congratulations. You are in agreement.
So who would you say are your dark horse? Who's like your dark horse? Do you have like?
Oh man, so
For defensive line, I think it's George Karlaftis.
See, that would be my second. That would be. I mean, that was my second choice.
I think you've got with Frank Clark. He's not.
He was fucking terrible last year. So bad.
Yeah. I'm just trying to spitball off the top of my head. Who else they have? Who else do y'all guys have?
For who? For
the Chiefs?
On the Chiefs, you got. He's already better than Mike Dana. I'm sorry, he's already better than Mike Dana.
Right. But Carlos Dunlap is going to see enough of the work to keep Karlaftis off the field for the significant. So? Initially, I do, but I don't think it's
Dunlap versus Karlaftis.
It's going to be Frank Clark.
Yes,
I don't disagree with that either. But Frank Clark has had a really good camp and a really good, at least early on. Again,
I feel like he's done that because he's been around a while, right? And he's been good in the past. Let's face it, he has been a good passer.
Sure, he has.
Mm-hmm. So I think the experience, the knowledge, the what have you, is giving him the advantage right now. Karlaftis, I think he's your all's best pass rusher. Period.
I don't
even Chris Jones. I really believe that.
I am all aboard Karlaftis. I always like the high motor guys. I know that's such a terrible moniker to give to a person because he's better and he's more than just that description. But he is the superlatives go far. I mean, when you say dark horse, that's the nice thing is you're talking about a person who has to just once he gets the role and he'll never let it up. And I think he's more than capable of doing so. Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, it's hard. I'm not impressed with Jermaine Johnson at all from what I've heard and seen. No, everybody said he's taken a couple steps backwards and is slow to pick up everything, and they think that it's a progress or a process. There's been some talk that Sam Williams in Dallas is actually impressing a lot of folks, and I don't know if he can take over Dorrance Armstrong, which is probably who his biggest battles with, but that could be a name. But we're just talking about every rookie essentially.
And then Arnold Ebiketie, I think he actually had a pretty
great call.
So, and he's just going to probably get the volume just because,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great call, Ebiketie. So, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that's the way. You can't score. You don't score points on the bench. And
exactly.
If you're on the field, and Atlanta will be on the field a lot. I mean, we just spent an hour last night beating up the Falcons on our show, unfortunately, on Fourth and Frames, because poor Keith is a Falcons fan, and we had Joe Bond from Fantasy Six Pack and myself and Tyler, and he thought that Atlanta would win more than 5 games, and we were in disagreement. But let's move on to the next. The position. I got to tell you, this for me was not hard, but it was very shallow. When I went diving into the rookie linebacker pool, I almost hit my head on the ground because
you almost paralyzed.
I was almost paralyzed. I don't feel good about any of them right now as far as like a clear leader. But Mike, let's start with you. If you had to give your ribbon to one,
I mean, I don't like that he started the year with a soft tissue injury. I don't like that, but I mean, we don't really know what Quay Walker's going to do in Green Bay.
Yeah,
we have an idea. We don't know what Channing Tindall's going to get. Leo Chanel had a really good preseason, but again, we don't know what he's going to do. I think by default, it's Devin Lloyd, right?
That's my default. I mean,
I don't think it's a default. I think it's well earned.
I do too. No, that's fair. I should take that back. It's not because everybody else was so bad. He just wasn't as bad. He's really proven himself, even because that's tough. For a rookie, to not only did
Right.
he get the job back, but he's fighting off the person like Chad Muma. So he had to do enough to earn that spot right back.
Lloyd had pretty good. He had some pretty good preseason snaps. He's got some hops. I think he almost had the interception. I think he might have he got his finger on Mariota's pass, but he was as advertised. He looked the part when in his snaps. So
nice. So here Perma has a Cameron Thomas. Courtney says, "Just kidding, Dynasty." But
Myjai Sanders. No,
I don't trust. I don't trust anybody in that defense as far as what expectations will be, or heaven forbid if the coaches say anything nice about him.
Oh, you're screwed.
He's gone. So
hopefully
no one mentions Cameron Thomas the name again. Quay Walker maybe, and that is a big maybe. You would like to see that they bring in a new coach or Devondre Campbell gets hurt, but he's going to have to do a lot with limited snaps, or at least somewhat limited compared to what Devin Lloyd and company will get. Now, on to the most fun, I believe, and by far the most challenging. This could be, maybe it's just because I'm more in depth with IDP this year than I have been in the history of my life. This defensive back groupings from the rookies is incredible. I wouldn't be shocked if all three of us have different names, and I wouldn't be shocked if all three of us make compelling enough arguments in cases that I might not switch, but I 100% can agree. And I couldn't put money. I'll put money down on Aiden Hutchinson. I would put money down on Devin Lloyd. I don't know if I'd put money down on the defensive back. So Hollywood, let's start with you. I know.
I think a lot of people recently, and it's a fair assessment. I think a lot of people are going Jaquan Brisker, right?
Yeah.
I think Jaylen Petrie for Houston is coming in the conversation as well. But I think Brisker, the hype right now is around him. I think a lot of people would put him as the guy. It's Kyle Hamilton is the answer. That dude don't play.
Really?
I mean, I get it with Brisker up there in Chicago. I do, and I think he's going to be really good. But if you put them on the same team, wherever you move them, whatever team you put those two on, Kyle Hamilton's a better player, hands down. One of the better IDP players in this class, in my opinion. So I know a lot of people are kind of put off with Chuck Clark. But we don't know how much longer Chuck Clark's going to be there. And Hamilton can kind of play that free safety role until Clark is gone, if he's gone, whatever the case may be. Until I see different, there's not a better defensive back than Hamilton right now. I mean, just okay. Now, injuries is a little bit of concern, right?
Yeah.
And I've said it many times. Go back and watch the Florida State game. What that dude did coming from the opposite side of the field to make that not everybody can do that. There's not many players in the NFL that can do that, let alone.
Well, there's a reason.
And maybe it's just a little bit of a man crush for me. Until somebody can show me different, it's Kyle Hamilton. He's the best defensive back in this class. Easy.
The only thing I would ask you is that a this year plus other years going forward, or because do you think there's a case that he can be the player just in 2022? Because that's essentially what I really care about, more so than from a dynasty perspective. And I don't want to
definitely
dynasty. I won't disagree. I don't know if I won't disagree because I could make a case for a few others. You just touched on about every one of them. Plus,
right. I think I'm still taking that bet. Okay. Now, I will say this year, the gap is a lot closer with Brisker.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a lot closer. It really is, and I think Jaylen Petrie makes it a lot closer. If we're talking 2022, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just
hey, stick to your guns.
I have to go talent until somebody can show me different, right?
Right there with you.
But I do like Brisker a lot for this year. I like him a lot going forward, but I just think the talent-wise, it's Hamilton for me.
All right, Mike, what say you?
For 2022, and we're talking fantasy points, I'm putting, if I was going to put my chips down, I'm putting it on Nick Cross.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Got him as my DB 23. He's been playing up near the line of scrimmage, playing that box role, and I like I like how Gus Bradley likes to use his safeties up close. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Abram was on pace to be a DB1 last year before injury. I'm not even going to compare Nick Cross to Derwin James, but very kind of similar also. So for fantasy points, I'm saying Nick Cross.
I will tell you that is my answer as well. Not just because I, believe you and want to replicate that, but he's my DB 25, bouncing back and forth between him. And I got to tell you, I keep moving Grant Delpit up, and then I move him back down. Then I move him back up, then I move him back down because of the expectation. But Nick Cross is almost like we know exactly what we're going to get. We know that, he's already done one thing that he had to do. The first challenge was beating out Roddy McLeod. Check. Done. That was fast, which is impressive for any rookie to beat out a seasoned veteran, but it was, McLeod. And then 2, from a draft standpoint, get drafted onto a team that utilizes a safety in the box and plays single high safety as much as they do, which they do. And then you take away what I consider a little bit of mobility out of Shaq Leonard to start off. And I think that gives Nick Cross even more tackle volume just because he's going to be able to be involved in a little bit more plays. I'm not knocking Leonard, but that's where I'm at. And
right.
Perma with Cross is sick. Mike loves Lewis Cine for Dynasty. He is shaking his head. He's off of Lewis Cine. I do like Petrie. I do like Jaquan Brisker and Nick Cross. Hollywood. I was with Mike. I have Nick Cross as my.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, he's DB2 for me, the very bottom and really high. And I even went as far as looking. They don't have Nick Cross jerseys for sale yet when we were at Indy training camp, but I did check it out. Yes, we did take points off Perma for your spelling error on Nick Cruz and Cross. I mix up the names quite a bit.
Nick Cruz.
Attaboy, Perma. It's okay. There's no spelling bee yet. That's coming up later. Sean agrees. He says Hard Knocks says that Aiden Hutchinson, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Kirby, by the way, is.
But unfortunately, that's not the case because real life tells us it's still Alex Anzalone and Malcolm Rodriguez and Derek Barnes and Chris Board are all in this rotation.
Chris Board. Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Because did I have it here?
Oh, got a book.
Not a book.
Oh, he done whipped out a book.
No, maybe I did. Maybe I actually used a sheet. Did I actually? Yeah, I think I actually used a sheet this past week.
Look at us growing up in front of each other's eyes using
I
the
know.
internet.
Look at it.
How's Tennessee doing? They winning?
31-0 at the half.
Oh, geez.
It's very impressive because you have not expressed the excitement that I expected out of you.
In the second,
well,
I think
I'm trying to behave here.
Well, you better behave because we have the basically like our Godfather is coming in to keep tabs on all of us right now.
Oh, well, there were real quick.
Gary Davenport. Sorry, hold on. Gary, don't say anything yet. Mike's finished.
But there were 13 snaps with Detroit where it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were Rodrigo and Alex Anzalone, and then there were 1, 2, and there was like 5 with Board and Anzalone, and then Barnes had a few. So I don't know. Anzalone has to have some sort of. He's got documents on everybody in the Detroit front office.
The pictures, unfortunately. Yeah, you jumped in at the right time, Gary. We're waxing poetic about Alex Anzalone and our undying love for him. He's my LB2 on the season. He took over for Blake Martinez, which, by the way, RIP. I know that he was. We had the conversation, if you remember. We were at the stadium. Gary and I were talking about just everybody else dropping and how Gary was telling me, Martinez is moving up and up to like he's one of the few that he trusts enough to put it. Where did you have him at, if you don't mind me
I had him
asking?
at LB3. That's why I'm wearing sunglasses. I didn't want you guys to be able to see that I was crying.
I mean, I had him at 6, and every time I would tweet, yeah, Tay Crowder's wearing the dot, and Gary's like, dude, relax, it's Martinez, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I mean, Gary, I'm trying to rack my brain. We couldn't see this coming, right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, all right, good. I was like, did we miss something?
That's what I wanted to know.
I keep seeing that it's something about the fit in New York. So apparently Wink Martindale doesn't like good linebackers, and he solved that problem because now you're going to roll out Tay Crowder in every down roll. What could possibly go wrong? Tay Crowder, you have to put together like 3 PFF grades to get one decent one.
Yeah.
If you add his coverage and pass rush and run defense together, he's okay. He's Alex Anzalone.
Somebody hurt Wink in the past because he is like I don't know, into BDSM or whatever it is, because he had Patrick Queen for so many years that he kept throwing out there, and maybe he likes watching missed tackles, and he's like,
I couldn't
that's
take Patrick Queen, but at least I got Tay Crowder.
Yeah, exactly. That's
guy.
what the transition is, the easiest shift from one to the next.
Would it not be ironic if Martinez were to wind up in Baltimore?
Yes, that's exactly right. I thought
that would be one of the places I
give me Baltimore or the Chargers. And
that's the two that you guys just said. Perfect.
Yeah. So that's what we said.
I say Seattle so that Mike has to wear sunglasses.
If he goes to Seattle, I'm out for the season. That's it. My season's already. My season's over.
I ain't even gonna do. I like Mike. I ain't gonna do that to him.
But I ain't hating it in Seattle because
no. Seriously, if tomorrow it comes out, Blake Martinez visiting Seattle, you need to put an APB out. You will seriously need to put an APB out for me.
I guess I'm closest, so I'll have to drive to Mike's to make sure he's okay.
Well, exactly.
But seriously, if he goes to Seattle, I'm not hating it. They showed they could produce 2 linebackers, elite linebackers, 150+ tackles last year.
Martinez to Cardinals, so the world can burn. Yeah, that would be a good one. I think KC the world would burn too.
No.
Yes, Mike does.
No, I don't want not KC. I'm trying to have faith in one Chiefs linebacker for once in my miserable life.
Bolton.
We have.
Bolton is the guy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know some people are like, well, maybe Bolton and Gay. I'm like, no, we'll be lucky if we get one.
Exactly. I'm crazy. Willie Gay's
we're trying to attract the squirrel here with Spagnuolo and a linebacker.
Someone on Twitter mentioned New England, and I'm like, no, shut up. No,
that's where fantasy assets go to die. They stop.
No.
Exactly.
No.
So that we can add one more guy to the rotation. Correct. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
So someone actually replied to me, what do you think of Pittsburgh?
That would be interesting because Devin Bush and Robert Spillane both suck in different ways.
Right.
Devin Bush can't stop the run to save his life, and Robert Spillane couldn't cover a bed with a sheet. So, yeah, maybe.
I think he would
not LA. It's not LA or Baltimore, but it's better than some of the other. I could live with it. I guess because it's not like Miles Jack is a world beater. I'd rather have Blake Martinez than Miles Jack.
Yeah.
But I can do that.
Oh God, yeah.
And it seems to me he's either going to go somewhere where he's got a clear path to playing time, or latch on with a contender where he can maybe chase a playoff run. So I don't think it's going to take that long for us to find out one way or the other. I
think it's the Chargers is the best fit between Bosa and Mack with Derwin James on the back.
And their inside linebackers are not great.
I'm not attached to Drew Tranquil in any way, shape, or form. So
Kenneth
Murray or Troy Reader, he can go to. That's where I'm hoping he goes. I'm hoping the Chargers.
I'm speaking it into existence. The Chargers are going to pick him up.
It won't happen. We want it to. Although, didn't the Chargers sniff around Bobby Wagner a little bit?
I think so.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did actually.
Bob, you joined us at the right time. I know you know the rest of this crew from our IDP panel. I don't know if you and Hollywood have been formally introduced before.
Hollywood? Yeah, Hollywood and I have had some exchanges over the last few years.
That doesn't sound good.
Right, exchanges.
No. Nothing
Shut
like
it, Mike.
That.
Shut it.
No. We actually live near one another, probably about an hour and a half away. And I've reached out to him. I think we're in the Scott Fish Bowl, like the Knoxville division this year. And I don't know. I've just talked to him about, maybe collaborating, maybe getting together sometime. Yeah, shit. Just go ahead.
You're not dressed up like a pumpkin to celebrate Tennessee playing a game or something like that against Ball State?
Yeah, that's where it's where my girlfriend is right now at the game, and I just got home from work. But
she's good people. Then I like her.
Yep. Well, she's from your neck of the woods, man. She's actually from Rogersville, Tennessee, which is right up the road.
Oh, so that's like 20 minutes for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Even better.
She should stay away. It sounds dangerous. So, what we've encapsulated so far is that today is D-Day for IDP. Unfortunately, it seems like everybody's kind of in mourning with a lot of things, obviously from the Titans and Landry and that whole situation. Again, Gary's wearing sunglasses because of the Blake Martinez fallout that I think we've all suffered.
I'm working the stages.
You are. Is it when is we hope that acceptance happens? Nope, that's your stages involve the Anheuser-Busch 6 stages of grief.
Exactly. Drowning our sorrows.
Yeah. Hollywood just condenses the stages into tall boys, so he gets through to acceptance faster. And I drink bourbon because, well, why not? And so what we've done is we quickly kind of went through, and I don't know if Gary, if you or Bob came prepared with any of like your immediate answers to any of the predictions, but we had we're going through the rookie positions in terms of who you think your overall highest fantasy point producer or your player of the year, if you will, would be at each position. And it doesn't have to be a dark horse crazy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It can be the, chalk.
Yeah.
Gary, who's your defensive lineman that is going to lead the league in scoring this year? You can go edge rusher as well.
I think it's got to be Aiden Hutchinson. I just think he's the most easily of the edge guys. He's the most pro ready, and he's looked the part in camp on Hard Knocks. Good dancer. I mean, what's not to like? He was my number one defensive lineman, edge rusher, whatever, entering the season in part because he seems so pro ready. That too, but he just seems so pro ready, and the playing time is going to be there. I don't know that he's going to be the best of the class over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But I'm pretty safe saying he's going to be the best of the lot in 2022.
Bob, anything different than the Aiden Hutchinson?
Absolutely not. No, it's Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, he's going to play early and often. He is exactly what Gary said. He is the most pro-ready player. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. He's going to be the guy.
And dude, he nailed Billie Jean. I mean,
he did.
Yes, he did.
When you get the whole team getting in on you, he nailed Billie Jean.
Yeah, he did.
Something tells me we're going to see that, 6, 7, 8 times this year. I don't know if we'll get to double-digit sacks. That might be a lot to ask, but I tell you, the fact that Okwara's slow to return, even slower than I think people expected, gives him even just
Charles
higher percentage. I don't. Hey, I like Charles. I thought Okwara. I was intrigued by the contract and going in if he was going to lose playing time at all. But let's move to linebacker, Bob. This was definitely more difficult for us to try to find one that is. I don't know. I mean, is it low hanging fruit again?
I don't know. I mean, there's part of me. I mean, I don't know if you call Quay Walker low-hanging fruit. But man, how can you, if you're watching Hard Knocks, how can you not like Rodrigo?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he may not get a whole lot of playing time, or maybe it just gets to the point where they just can't keep him off the field. If they keep him on the field, man, the sky's the limit for him. I don't know about his coverage skills, but man, that guy's a thumper, and he just has a nose for the ball. He's in the right place at the right time so far. So, man, I love that guy. I mean, he's great to watch, and, he's kind of a dark horse. I don't know if anyone's mentioned him, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, we love all the plays that Alex Anzalone doesn't.
Right, exactly. This is the Alex Anzalone beat up hour. So if
I have a couple shares, every time I draft Alex Anslin, I'm like, I feel dirty. This is not right.
you have a couple shares, oh well,
He's one of the
you're in
he's one of the
600
few
leagues
guys-
though, so that's okay. You have
He
everybody.
has like my LB6 or LB7, and even then I don't feel good about it. I'm like, oh, crap.
He's one of the few guys that I don't care that if I'm talking shit about him, if he happens to be on our stream, I don't care.
He looks like Thor. They say they call him Thor.
Ugh.
That is a pox upon Thor's name. It should be
Exactly.
mentioned.
That is horrible. So horrible.
Gary,
Tell me
who's
how
your
you really feel,
linebacker?
I mean, Quay Walker seems like the obvious call, if only because he's got the easiest path to snaps early, I think.
Ooh.
I mean, if you'd asked me 5-6 weeks ago, I might have said Devin Lloyd. Hell, it might be Micah McFadden at this point, because now that Wade Martindale has taken up the mess, who knows who the Giants linebackers are going to be by week 5. So I'll go Quay Walker, but nothing would surprise me anyway. We went through a day where we had one high-end IDP get hurt, another high-end IDP get arrested, and one just get cut. So
And then one IR, and then another put on IR, and then Deion Jones
And
is put on
Deion
IR.
Jones, exactly.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, I got a team with Martinez and Jones. Today was a good day.
I have 2 teams with both of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Season hadn't even started.
That's what this is, maybe a good thing. Maybe this is the good timing for this to happen. This is like a support group. We can sit around and
Yes,
we'll build
it's
each
an
other
AA
up.
session.
Hi,
Wow.
my name's
I
Nate
got,
Markham,
the punch and pie.
and I have,
Oh, shit.
I did cut Blake Martinez a few hours ago and was able to pick up Denzel Perriman. He was still on the wire, so I felt, felt good about that.
Martinez? Oh.
Don't get me and Mike started on Denzel Perriman. It'll just end into a brouhaha.
yes, I can see that.
We'll have a
all-
last
And
man standing match.
That's another team because Patrick Graham loved Martinez in New York and Vegas.
So
I
you're
ain't
not
saying
afraid
it'll
that
happen,
you
but I ain't saying it
overreacted cutting Martinez?
Well, let's put it this way. There's a dynasty league that I've been in for several years that's IDPs as well. And it's kind of a hybrid contract like salary cap league. Therefore, we have a rule in our league is that if a player gets cut from an NFL team, you can cut him from your fantasy team with no penalty. Basically, you can sign him up to a 4-year contract. If you cut a guy, you're responsible for 30% of his contract until it runs out. So I was able to cut him. I don't think anybody in the league is going to pick him up. So I may be able to. I was able to cut him with no penalty, and I might be able to pick him back up for the league minimum and maybe lock him up.
Actually, that's not horrible. I don't understand sometimes how salary cap leagues work, but I guess that's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not.
No,
your
I get it.
traditional-
No, especially if you can get.
I just think he's
Parrot.
going to land somewhere. That's kind of risky to me. I'm not cutting him
Well-
until I see something.
But that's what he was saying, Hollywood, though. It sounds like that there's limitations on it's not just like a waiver free for all where the other players in his league can just go grab him. So he's technically kind of cutting him, making a lateral move to get Perryman. It's not a lateral move. I'm not saying that, Mike. I'm saying it's obviously a drop off. Perryman sucks. It's Divine Diablo to the moon. I know it. Gary, got to deal with him every week. Just let me have it. And then he has a chance to get both. So then it's actually maybe a gain by subtraction. He could possibly have both once Martinez signs in Seattle.
Well, I had Deion Jones as well, and I just had to place him on the IR.
Oh my God, you had Deion Jones too.
I did have Deion
Holy
Jones.
yeah.
I had him
Holy.
both. So yeah, I had to make a move.
Sheesh.
But it's on MFL. It's on my fantasy league. And Gary, we're not going to get into this.
Uh-oh.
And I've got TJ Watt, and he is a linebacker. He is listed as a linebacker, so he's
That's
linebacker.
not Gary's fault. No, that's not Gary's fault.
Gary's actually on
No,
our
Gary.
side. I've always
He's like, I'm
I've
on
always
your
been
side.
hesitant. I've always been worried about that.
Up to
Insulting
me,
Gary.
It'll be fixed. It's not up to me. Next year,
I have to
haven't
say,
given up yet. I
kudos
have
to
not given
Gary
up
for
yet.
doing that for years because,
Oh, it's a thankless job.
oh, my
You think-
God.
Exactly.
Oh, I just don't know how you did that.
I
God
wish it
bless
was
your heart,
thankless.
buddy.
Thankless would be 4 steps ahead of what it is.
What you do?
Only now, I
Overrated.
appreciate it. I do. Get
I hope
people
you
that thank
hope
me
you
for
were
doing
well compensated for that,
No, God.
or at least compensated in some way.
Oh, Mike's got jokes.
You deserved it. If you didn't get it, you sure deserved it. I'll tell
Dude,
you
I would
that.
not have. Oh, you're a better person than I am doing. If you were
Yeah,
doing
'cause
that,
I
for
couldn't-
me.
I
I would.
wouldn't.
I would have dipped after year one.
It's part of my
Ugh.
gig for Fantasy Sharks. Goes
Yep.
with the territory.
Yeah.
Well, let's
If I stop, and I almost, when true position did go through, I'm not going to lie. I was about to say, you know what? That's it. Let someone else worry about this nightmare. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Mhm.
But if I'm not doing it, then who is doing it? And then I don't want someone else to break things. So
Well, why not just add and create a separate position? You've got your defensive linemen, you have your linebackers. What about creating just edge?
my understanding is that the system they have, that adding a new position would be logistically a major hassle, would require like a major redesign of their databases and such, which is why I propose just, making the 3-4 edge, the 3-4 rush linebackers, defensive ends, and making all the 3-4 linemen defensive tackles. I proposed this year. Oh, as soon as the 2022 season ends, I'm going to start harassing them. I'm not going to stop. I'm stuck.
If you guys are looking for leagues, definitely get into leagues with Gary, because he basically he does it all. He changes everybody. So
and I've asked people, as many people as I can, to change, because that I can show to the people at MFL. Because last year they said, well, there weren't that many people that changed it manually, so that became one of my goals again. Also this year was to change as many as, even if I have to change them myself, to be able to show them that it's, oh my God, the Max Crosby Chandler Jones fiasco all summer long. People are complaining about it. And then they decide, okay, we'll change Max Jones and Chandler. We'll change Crosby and Chandler Jones back to defensive end, which great. That made people happy and everything. But if they would just let it do my way, there wouldn't be any back and forth.
It was like Joey Bosa, Joey Bosa last year,
Yeah.
Right.
I just think it diminishes the number of players that we want to watch, that we want to roster. Because I want to have Joey Bosa on my team. I don't want Joey Bosa as a linebacker. I just don't. I mean, as my linebacker 4. It does. It does, which is, I'm all about strategy. So but there's something with that, but I don't know. There's a combination of the two that can go into it. But
I'll get her done, man.
I know you will.
Yep.
So let's get it done.
I feel Gary's battle, because I'm doing the same. In a way, I'm doing the same thing when the NFL IDP Daddy. I'm all up on their ass over this, and they're like, "Well, it's this and this," but I'm not letting it go. I'm I'm like Gary. I'm going to bulldog this to the end. You're not going to beat me on this.
Who we went through defensive back also, which was by far, I think, I feel like it was the most difficult exercise, because there's 2 or 3 that I can make a case for. Who, Gary? Who would as your defensive back?
I'm looking for a coin to flip.
Yep, exactly.
Nah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go Jaylen Petrie of the Houston Texans. If only, Brister's right there.
Nice.
Nick Cross is right there, but they've got better linebackers playing in front of them than Petrie does in Houston. Texans aren't a great team. Defense is probably going to be on the field quite a bit. Former Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, had a boatload of tackles for loss last year at Baylor.
Yep.
I'll go Jaylen Petrie. It's going to be close, but I'll go Petrie.
Are you not a Kyle Hamilton fan?
The Ravens don't seem to be in a big hurry to rush him into the starting lineup, and I don't know that he's going to have a role that's really going to be as productive from an IDP perspective as those guys that are going to be in the box a lot. I mean, Kyle Hamilton's a fantastic football player. There were people that thought that not only was he the best safety prospect, but that he was the best prospect overall, regardless of position, in the entire draft class.
I would be one of those. I think he's.
But that role, I just don't know that it's necessarily going to translate to fantasy numbers for us. It's that disconnect on the back end that we have.
I think 70% of his snaps were deep in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where I was at.
Yeah, him and Jeremy Chin.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. Nope. We're moving on. Bob, let's go to you for your defensive back. I can't do it.
I'm actually going to politely disagree, and I am going to go Kyle Hamilton.
Oh,
boom!
So we got
my guy.
Kyle Hamilton's.
I think he is going to play. I think he's going to. They're going to get him in there.
Yep.
Listen, Chuck Clark is a very, very good football player.
Oh my God! I said the same things. Yes.
He is not special like Kyle Hamilton is.
Yes.
Okay. With that secondary in that division where you are having to take on, Cincinnati is so friggin' dangerous They're going to be throwing the ball all over the place. You're going to have your best guys out there. And Hamilton is going to be by far your biggest playmaker. Now listen, they signed Marcus Williams to a huge contract, so he's going to be playing center field. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to free up a lot of playmaking ability for Kyle. Whether he's kind of jumping up in the box, if he's dropping back, I cannot wait to see him. I was a little weird about it at first when Baltimore drafted him. I know they really was targeting Jamison Williams, and their backup was our boy out of Georgia, the defensive tackle, like the 8-foot guy. I'm already like losing Jordan Davis. That was the backup plan. They got skipped. They got jumped in front of for both of those guys. So, a good consolation prize. But I have to go with Kyle Hamilton there. He's just too special of a player. We all agree on that. And I think they have no choice but to put him on the field, and especially playing in a nickel and dime and everything. They're going to find ways to get him out there.
I think that'll be definitely one of the narratives and the storylines to follow as the season goes along. Because I got to tell you, I could see both of those two situations unfolding the way that I believe that like Gary, Mike, and myself kind of feel with Kyle Hamilton, and that the snaps being limited at some point they will. It's a catch-up game for Kyle Hamilton over probably the 12 to 13 games that he's going to have a disadvantage compared to Jaylen Petrie, Jaquan Brisker, and Nick Cross, who from day one are going to get significant snaps. And so that's the only reason why, not the only reason, I think we could probably have a couple different, but come 2 years from now, if we're having this conversation, I wouldn't be shocked at all if we all said, yeah, Kyle Hamilton's been the best for sure. It's a great, I tell you, I've said it from the very beginning of the show, the defensive back class of rookies this year and the landing spots they had and the situations is as good as one that I've seen, but I haven't been in it for, the years that you guys have collectively. So maybe you could tell me I'm wrong, but I think I'm excited to watch it unfold.
No, it's a great class.
It's a good class.
And Kyle Hamlin's an outstanding football player, but I almost think it might work against him a little bit early, because I think the Ravens are going to ask him to do more than the other guys. There's going to be more to learn. They're going to want him to play deep, play in the box, play the slot. Whereas guys like Petrie and Brisker and Cross, they're going to be box safeties. It's going to be simple. It's going to be see ball, kill ball. And that's going to be it. Yeah. I love Hamilton, the football player. The Ravens got ridiculous value at number 14.
Man, the Ravens always do. Their draft is, if there's one draft to mock each year and to emulate, them, right? It's always Baltimore. It always seems like value falls in their lap. And I know they said it was like the ghost, or it's not the ghost of Ozzie Newsome, but of his input into the draft. He just had
he set the standard. Something. You go back and they got Travis Jones.
Love him.
A complete grand slam for them. That's their guy. That's their mold, everything. That dude's gonna.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a top, one of the top linemen from this class, in 3 years. He is I've said it, man. He's like a poor man's Aaron Donald. He's a bully out there, and I cannot wait. Unfortunately, he's hurt, and he's going to miss a few games, but I can't wait for him to get at full speed and be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got David Ajabo, which is
yes, loved him out of Michigan.
I don't know that anybody in this draft killed it better than Baltimore. Hamilton, Ajabo, Travis Jones. I defy you to find the team.
I think the Eagles did pretty.
Eagles did very well.
Eagles did very, very well, but Baltimore really, really did well. They, like I said, they always do well in their drafts. Maybe scratch that 2019 draft because I only think they only have one, I think they have one or two players even left on the team from that 2019 draft.
Pittsburgh's similar. They usually have great drafts, and the only time I can think of where the Steelers really whiffed badly was when which they never do. They traded up to get Devin Bush, and that turned out to be a huge mistake.
2019.
And I love the DeMarvin Leal pick for Pittsburgh too. That's going to be huge. Huge.
Generally, they just wait. They sit there at 22 to 27. They're always picking in the back half of the round. They just wait and just take the best guy that's on the board. That 1 year that they said, nope, that's our guy. Let's go get him. It blew up in their face because Devin Bush sucks.
Yeah. which is weird because I don't think anybody expected it. Tennessee looks like they scored again. Congratulations, Volunteers. Let's
Woo!
You better
take
score
that
against flipping Ball State.
Any given Thursday is what they say. Any given Thursday.
Ohio State is going to roll Notre Dame Saturday. They're going to cover Saturday.
I hope not. I'm a Notre Dame guy.
My dude Gary.
I'm a Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Guy.
Yeah, Ohio State is. Those receivers are just going to run all over them.
Well, good. Then we're going to have a little. You two are going to be going at it. Let's start
what's
off
the spread,
with
by
the
way? I gotta know what the
defensive.
spread is.
17.
Ooh,
17.
Oh, moly. Okay.
Ooh, shit.
Well,
Yeah, it ain't often you
Cavs.
see a game between two top 5 teams with a 17-point spread. Welcome to the horseshoe, y'all.
I love it.
It was one of the first times it's
Hell
ever
yeah.
happened, if I'm not mistaken. Like the first.
It's
game.
the first time Ohio State has ever played their first game with both teams being ranked in the top 5 in Ohio State's history.
Really?
And Ohio State and Notre Dame have been
Really?
around for a minute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew
This
there
is
was
also-
something. I couldn't remember what I had heard, but that sounds.
This is also the
exactly
100th anniversary of the opening of the horseshoe.
right. Oh well, look at That's the only reason Notre Dame's going to lose is all these things working against them. That's also probably why Kyle Hamilton was the pick. Now it's starting to make more sense.
Oh, come on.
Let's not. No, I'm kidding. But Hollywood, let's jump to you. Let's talk about a fun category, of course. Who is going to lead the league in sacks this year? Not from
Overall?
a rookie. Overall.
Okay.
We're past the rookies. We've done enough rookie talk this season
Yeah.
on this show. Let's talk about the
So
The
overall,
vets.
it's not going to be TJ Watt. It's not going to be.
so you're taking the field, non-TJ Watt.
Yeah, no
Good
shit.
answer. Great.
Betting
I
against Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
I promise you, I'll take the field against TJ Watt because
sure. I'd take 100.
I wrote an article a few years ago about Aaron Donald, and when you hit 20 plus sacks, you've peaked. You've peaked. It happens. There's only been 2 players that, well, 3. I take it back. There's 3 that have really challenged that they haven't peaked. Reggie White, Gastineau, Mark Gastineau for the Jets, and J.J. Watt. Those are the 3. Those are the 3. Of all the other pass rushers that have hit 20 sacks, they've never got back there again. Never. 20 sacks is real. When you get that, that's an attention getter.
So who's it going to be? You say it's not TJ Watt.
That's what I'm wondering.
It's not TJ Watt. It's I'm gonna get some phone calls over this.
That should be good.
It's not gonna be Myles Garrett either.
It's not going to be Jarvis Landry. It's not going to be
It's
Harold
not gonna
Landry
be
either.
Myles Garrett.
No, I don't think it's going to be Jarvis Landry.
No, I know.
Some have it go really wrong if it's Jarvis Landry.
It's just that's part of the field answer against TJ Watt. He's just one of the other names that
If
it
it's
could
Jarvis Landry, we're all wrong.
Right. Who are 3 guys that had never been in my kitchen.
Man,
Nice Cheers reference.
Thank you.
I gotta.
Man, you're saying he's not going to get the sacks?
Who?
You're saying he's not going to get the sacks and you don't even have a guy?
Oh, I do. It's not going to be TJ. It's not going to be Miles. I think the guy that I like most here is going to be Nick Bosa.
There you go. You and Sean.
Yep.
Cheating off Sean is what
I
that is. Sean, we know
I'm
that
cheating
you
off
are
Sean,
his
yeah.
muse and he relies on you. Mike, do you have a more clear path to your sack leader?
I'm gonna go Myles Garrett. Just things are
Homer!
lining up for him. Things are just lining up. I think he's gonna have 5 against Baker Mayfield in week 1. He's just gonna chase him down. He's lining up against a rookie left tackle week 1. So I'm just gonna go Myles Garrett.
I could see Baker doing like a Varsity Blues where he just rears back and throws it and hits him right in the face mask with it. Just bam.
And then he catches it and he beats him with the helmet, with the ball stuck in the helmet.
No
But-
way.
Ask
no
Mason
way.
Rudolph how that works out.
Exactly.
Baker
right,
Mayfield's
Bob.
too sharp. He would hit Myles Garrett in the abdomen, I think.
Exactly.
All right. right, we got one Garrett. I mean, the easy answer is TJ Watt, but
Is that what you think?
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like,
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's so hard. It's so hard to do, Gary.
Yeah, but one of the guys who's already showed he can do it, last name happens to be Watt, and he might not even be the best Watt, given how TJ has played. Like, I mean, it's hard to. TJ Watt's floor feels like 15 sacks at this point, and it's hard for players to hit that as their ceiling. But if I'm not going to go TJ Watt, I'm not going to go Myles Garrett, although I'm with you, Mike. Myles Garrett's going to eat week 1 against Baker Mayfield. Every joke Baker told that locker room about to come back to haunt him.
It's all over the line. Whether he is so angry that came out.
You know what? I'll go a little off the radar. I don't know how off the radar it is. We'll go Chandler Jones playing opposite Max Crosby with the Raiders.
That's a good
I
call.
do too. Bob, how about you, buddy?
It's TJ Watt.
Oh no. No way.
It's TJ Watt, and I think the only guy I love Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is definitely on his way to being TJ Watt, but TJ Watt is already TJ Watt. Okay. Aaron Donald's about the only other guy that I think can challenge that. Myles Garrett, I'm hoping that he's going to be motivated. I think Cleveland is going to have a rocky start to the season. I really hope that he, opposite of Jadeveon Clowney, I could see that happening. But, man, it's TJ Watt. I talk about these guys all day. But just like Gary said, I mean, you call it chalk, call it low-hanging fruit, whatever. His floor is 15 sacks. Just like – I mean, he took the words right out of my mouth. I don't know if he's going to hit 20, but certainly could see 17, 18 out of him.
15's not going to win it.
But at the same, but you might be right. But if you go back like the past 8-9 years, it would be at least first or second every year.
Yeah, you'd be close.
15. And I know that's not the answer.
Yeah, you'll be close.
If anyone gets 20 sacks this season, it's TJ Watt.
I'll tell you, this is not
it's
my
not happening.
Per se, like
20 sack seasons, not happening.
He doesn't need 20 though.
Way.
16 would probably get it done.
Yeah, I was thinking 17, 18 maybe.
If there's a chance that we talked about this destination for Blake Martinez earlier, is that if he actually lands in Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Micah Parsons challenges for that sack lead. And I know that that's crazy because he's already went on record as saying that that's what he wants. He wants the sack record. So he's motivated, which was crazy not to think. And this is, I got to probably caveat this. I don't know if I really would put money down for Micah Parsons to win it right now. If Blake Martinez ended up there, I think there could be a case to be made. But if I had to put $1 down right now or a mortgage, the safest pick is exactly like you guys have said and goes with what Gary was saying. It's not betting against Tiger Woods. It's taking TJ Watt and doing the most consistent. He's in place. I worried about the injury to the knee at first, but he seems to be good to go. So I think
Watt and Garrett are the only guys that are less than 10-1 to lead the league in sacks at DraftKings.
Yeah, I would love to see Bosa. I really think Nick Bosa has the potential for sure. I think we've nailed every single person.
I think the one guy that I ended up with quite a bit was Gary from Green Bay.
Yes, I love Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn Gary, yeah.
I mean,
I think he could be, 13, 14. I just don't know if that's going to lead.
Yeah.
Because I also think Preston Smith could go for Preston Smith's probably good for 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Although
they could have a really good pass rush. I just don't know that they have kind of like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack for the Chargers. Right. They could have a great pass rush as a team. I just don't know that they're going to challenge for the league lead.
Right. Which could play the same thing with Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. Is they both, you have two just nasty forces. And I think that the defensive line edge position is just saturated with superior, excellent pass rushers. And the ones that were getting long in the tooth landed in perfect spots, like such great spots.
Sean just said the name that I was going to say.
I was right.
Donnell and Zadarius.
I mean,
Oh yeah,
Von
Danielle
Miller.
Hunter. That could be another sneaky pick. Hunter could be
Absolutely.
challenged too.
loved no, Hunter.
You know, Von Miller. Von
Yeah.
Miller landed in a great
Mhm.
spot.
Absolutely.
Von Miller has never led the league in sacks. As great a career as he's had. And he had an 18.5 sack season, but that was the year that J.J. Watt had 20.5.
Yep.
Right.
There you go. That's just crazy. This next one is by far, I think, one of the more challenging that I have, because the person to lead the league in tackles, if we asked this question last year, if anybody here said it was going to be a Luakon, I'd call you a liar. Well, maybe not a liar, but I'd probably say you're.
No, you'd be
I'd probably call you a liar. But
Why are we even talking about this? It's Blake Martinez. Go to hell.
Yeah. Sack leader is Harold Landry. Tackle leader is Blake Martinez. And
Interception leader is
Marcus May.
May.
Exactly. All right. That does it for this episode of Shoot the Gap.
nailed your IDPs. That's it.
This was brought to you by
Mic
Deion
drop.
Jones.
Boom.
Bob, who's leading the league in tackles this year?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going Roquan.
No.
I'm going to go with Roquan just because that offense is just awful, and he's going to be on the field quite a bit. There's a lot of me. It says Bobby Wagner. I even was thinking about C.J. Mosley a little bit there, but just thinking about how awful that offense is going to be in Chicago, Roquan, I believe, is going to lead the league.
Hollywood, you were saying no. Who do you have?
Man, so freaking tough. You know what? I really like Bobby Wagner. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, look what he did in Seattle, and he was second in the league, or on his own team, not in the league, but second on his own team. With Donald and those guys, with what they've got defensively, I think he's going to eat, man.
Mike?
Get this right, Mike.
He wants to say Cody Barton.
I know he
I
does.
do. Oh, I totally do.
That's all I was thinking. I was waiting for him to.
Oh, shoot.
Surprised he's not wearing a Barton jersey.
He is underneath. Don't
Exactly.
worry.
He's wearing
If
Barton
he
underwear.
leads the league in tackles and does what I hope he's going to do, I think I'll probably end up getting one.
That would be awesome. Yes.
I would have.
You got to
I
wear
mean,
it
I
to
would
the
have
expo
to.
next year.
I would have to. I mean, I know it's a
Write
joke.
that shit
but it's
down,
like,
Nate.
Don't worry.
You can make it part of the Doc costume.
Yeah,
With like a mask and a cape and a Cody Barton jersey.
One big green ass dot.
It would be. I know it's a joke, but boy, I have put so much into him, and
Oh, this is going to be good.
but
I picked him in one league just to snipe Mike. That
Oh,
was
I know.
The only reason I did it.
I did
and
the
that's
same thing
actually
to him
good,
once
and that's
as
the only
well.
reason why I picked Cameron Curl to snipe you.
Well, that's what friends do, right?
Right.
Sure.
Right. Sharing is caring.
That's right. Sharing is caring. Yes.
Oh God.
Oh, Mike's sweating here. I'm kind
I
of
am.
surprised with
There's
this.
a bunch of different options. I'm just gonna stick with horrible offenses and just go with CJ Mosley.
Oh,
And
snap.
I mean, CJ Mosley had 168 last year, so
Exactly.
he was right in there.
Right.
So,
I love
Dang,
that.
I don't know. You know, I don't know that God, I like that, man. I'm going to have to change my
So-
vote.
That's what I was thinking. That's the reason why I mentioned him.
You did. Exactly.
Oh, sweet.
And I think it's
I love Mosley in IDP this year, given where you can get him.
Yeah.
'Cause he's not.
yeah.
He's got top 3 upside at like
Easily.
a LB 7-8 price tag.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can maybe, if you want TJ Watt, you want that elite edge rusher, you might be able to circle back and get you a CJ Mosley as your anchor linebacker, and that's not.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go terrible offense too,
Okay.
but a different terrible offense, and I'll go Cody Barton adjacent, and I'm gonna go Jordan Brooks, which honestly feels like kind of a chalk pick, given because Seattle's scorekeepers. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at a running back with a mean face, you get
Yes.
assists.
you got a tackle.
So if we're talking tackles plus assists, Bobby Wagner might lead the NFL in solos this year. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
But the Rams
Yeah.
scorekeepers just aren't as generous as the Jets and Seattle and teams like that.
Exactly.
I can't believe even Jordan Brooks had 108 solos.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he made a lot of mean faces.
He did.
Which goes into the what
So
Gary
is
was
Seattle
saying was
scorekeeper the new Buffalo?
Exactly. Green Bay,
Seattle's
Buffalo, Seattle.
always
They
been
score heavy.
Yeah.
generous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was
Do y'all buy into that a lot? The scorekeeping?
It can make a difference.
It can
really
make-
can.
I mean,
I
it
can
can.
remember when the Rams were in St. Louis.
Mhm.
They
that's
would
how
award-
London Fletcher.
They would award fewer assists in a season than like Seattle would give
Mhm.
out in say 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have guys that would have like 95 solos and 7 or 8 assists for an entire season.
And then last but not least, of course, is Tay Crowder. The Tay Crowder conversation.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Stop.
Yes,
Stop.
we will move on.
Sean, I'm disowning you.
He's just doing
No.
it to get on my nerves.
Yes, we
Yeah. Yeah. I'm banning
Now-
Sean from every chat that I'm in with him. He's done. I'm done with him.
But
And yet he'll be a top 10 linebacker 3 weeks into the season because nothing matters anymore.
but I own him in your league, Gary.
Well, bully for you.
Gary's-
Oh, there's that beautiful woman.
they
There's
can't.
his
She
gangster.
can't. They're
Somebody
saying
class
mean
up
things
the-
about you.
I was
right
going to
now.
ask you about her a moment ago.
That's nice.
Gosh, man, is she just not the loveliest thing?
Well, that's really sweet.
She
They
is.
have such nice things to
Let's
say
get
about
rid
you.
of Nate and bring her in.
She
I'm all
can't
for it.
corral you monkeys.
You know what? Yeah,
We don't need her to corral us.
I know.
Over Nate.
It
Carry
would
over
be
Nate.
mayhem, but it would be fun.
It would be 6-hour podcasts all time, and it would be nothing but you guys drinking tequila and partying.
Again.
Man, I had such a great time with her at the expo, man. She was
What's the
awesome.
difference between that and now?
Bob's saying he had the best time with you. Gary says he had the greatest time. Hollywood says, I'm out, you're in. And Mike
Hollywood,
agrees.
Seriously, I can see your arms. What happened? I need you to roll up them sleeves. There you go. Show them the guns, Hollywood.
Your husband almost got me into an accident too, so that's why you also.
Outside of the King's Classic, here we're waiting. We're walking in, Drew, myself, and Mike pulls up and just stops and has the window down. He's like, "What's up?" And we're just talking, and he keeps talking and looking, and he's making the left turn in, and here comes a car flying down, and I was like, "Mike," waving, and they both stopped, no accident. And I was like, oh my God, the hearts have to be racing. Mike pulls in, the guy starts to take off, and I said, hey, my bad, that was my fault. He slams on his
I
brakes.
I did the
Yeah. Well, he thought I was
wave
talking
of
shit
shame.
to him. And he rolled his window down. He goes, what'd you say? And I said, I just said it was my fault. I was talking to him and he didn't pay attention. He goes, oh, no harm. No big deal. And he took off. And I was like, that would have been
did the wave of shame.
crazy. It was pretty shameful. But
The
nothing
moral of that
happened.
Story is never ride in a car with Mike.
Exactly.
Oh no, definitely not.
Hey,
was early.
when I got to Canton, my car got parked next to the hotel, and that's where it stayed until I left. Because ain't no one need to be riding in the car with me.
Exactly.
I don't like to ride in the car with me.
We drove around. We had
Trapped
good
in a
time.
car with Gary. I could not think of anything scarier.
You know, I can think of
Wow.
scarier trying to predict who leads the league in interceptions.
Oh,
I think I mean, I don't know if it's even something worthwhile to even talk about unless you guys have someone that you truly
get my
love at
blindfold on.
interception.
You know what?
Bob, anybody can.
That's
I mean-
so freaking hard to do. But if he's healthy, I'm gonna, and it's a long shot.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take Marcus Peters, Baltimore.
That's exactly who I was going to say.
Boom.
Good job,
Yes.
Hollywood. Marcus friggin' Peters.
That's right.
I mean, he's got the most interceptions, I think, over the last 5 seasons, and he missed all of last year.
Yeah.
Amani and Warrior in Detroit.
He will be targeted a lot. You need
Yeah,
to have
6
targets to.
Had half a dozen interceptions last year.
Awesome.
Quietly. Nice IDP value, decent tackle numbers, nice big
Yeah.
play. Can get him in the last round because no one has any idea who even plays for the Lions.
That's true.
Right.
Jorge had him in our breakdown initially, and he
Don't you
actually
dare
took
give
him.
Jorge credit. He's not
He
even here.
took him-
Don't give
I
him
know.
credit.
But he took him out. He goes, I can't. no one's going to know who the hell this guy is. I'm going to look stupid
Oh,
when he doesn't
exactly.
do anything. And I was like, hey, do what you want. And I get it. And also cornerbacks aren't sexy. So we have Marcus Peters. We got Hollywood. Did you have someone as well or not? You just read,
No,
are
he's
you
the one
reading
that
one of
said
our, are you he's reading a Football Diehards magazine right now to see what Gary Davenport said about interception.
I didn't write a damn thing in one of the magazines about quarterbacks.
Oh shit!
What you got? Who you like? If you say
Just throw a
Trayvon
dart,
Diggs, you're
man.
never allowed on here again.
Just throw a dart. There is no wrong answer except
Yeah,
Trayvon Diggs.
it's
because it won't
so
be him.
hard to
Exactly.
predict. If I was going to say someone, it was going to be Marcus Peters. So well done,
Yes.
Hollywood. Well
I'm gonna
done.
go
Attaboy.
Patrick Surtain.
Attaboy.
Oh, I like
Ooh.
Patrick. You know, that's a good one.
Ooh, Fire.
Sneaky good answer. Because there's going to be a lot of shootouts in that division.
I think so,
he's
too.
going to get thrown at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any.
You get-
I think you could pick any AFC West guy and you got a puncher's chance.
Oh yeah.
Exactly
Well,
right.
JC Jackson. I mean, JC
Yeah.
Jackson is.
Yeah.
But he's
I like
hurt.
him over. I like him over Diggs, and a big time sleeper that I would. I mean, it's way out of left field, but Javon Holland out of Miami.
Oh, safety.
I can see that. Well, I actually. So that's funny you mentioned Holland because my interceptions, who we talked about at the beginning of the show, is I think it could be Xavier McKinney. I think the ball hawk skills there. I think that there's a chance that when with this secondary being, I don't want to say depleted in New York, but obviously downgraded from last year, I think there's a chance that other teams pass on them a little more heavily. And if that's the case, then I mean, he had 5 last year, and that was really technically his first season and getting acclimated with everything. So yeah, I think I just want to will it in there, even though I think Marcus Peters is probably the more, if you had to bet at Vegas, that probably would make good sense.
I just really, really want to see that Baltimore secondary this year with Marcus Williams
And if your
Peter,
league scores return yards like on
Marlon
interception
Humphrey.
returns,
Marlon Humphrey, you've got Kyle Hamilton, who we spoke about.
Yeah,
I
that's
cannot
loaded.
wait to see that secondary this year.
Everyone was asking today, who's the big winner of Blake Martinez getting cut? I think it was McKinney.
Mhm.
He's gonna.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could be the.
He was.
number
Yeah,
one
he was going to
defensive
be. I mean, he was already shaping up to be that guy. I hope he plays.
And
more.
I think Julian Love gets a boost too,
Yeah.
like we talked
Yeah.
earlier.
I think
I just
McKinney's
hope
going to be in the
McKinney gets
box.
more box. I hope he gets more line of scrimmage snaps because I think he played 800 snaps deep last year. So I'm really hoping half of those get up towards the line of scrimmage this year. Because if that's the case, then
Oh, given the
He's
linebackers
going
playing
off.
in front of him, he could lead
Yeah,
the
he-
team in tackles. He could be like Jaylen.
he could be
Thompson
Minka
last year.
Fitzpatrick last year.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was
Yeah.
say there's only, and Minka actually played 60, 70 more snaps at free safety than McKinney did. I
Yep.
mean, there's only 4 guys that played more free safety snaps than McKinney, and that's Fitzpatrick,
Right.
Marcus Williams,
Yeah.
Trevin Morgan, Quandre Diggs.
Yep.
I have quite a few shares of McKinney this year.
I do as well. As we're talking, I basically have moved him up consistently. I think Mike and I were having a debate earlier, a conversation about who above or below he should be. If Kyle Duggar, and I'm starting to leapfrog Duggar. I've done that, and he's now in that Kevin Byard type territory for me right now. Which
Definitely within that second tier. Like obviously
Yeah.
with the way we kind of draft, I know we'll never have Derwin James because he goes really high, but
He's in
he's
the
kind of in that
first-
second tier.
He's in the first tier we'll look at.
Yeah. which for
That's
me
a
is like
really-
Harrison Smith to Justin Simmons. I think is that range, or Jordan Poyer-esque.
Yeah,
if he's
throw in a
actually healthy.
I actually
Yeah.
drafted Poyer in a couple leagues this year just for old time's sake.
Little
Because he
Buda
dropped a
Baker.
little bit because of the
Yeah.
elbow.
Mhm.
But I love me for years. Jordan Poyer every year he was under.
Poyer and
Every
Micah
year.
Hyde.
100
Oh, yeah.
tackles and 100
They're
tackles and
great
4 or
combo.
5 picks.
Right.
And that's all I really want.
And
I mean,
Hyde is still undervalued. You can get Hyde at the end of your draft. I'll grab him for depth. Nice guy to have around for when the bye weeks roll around or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll roll out Micah Hyde, no problem.
Yeah, it's crazy that if you look at a lot of people's rankings, at least if you look at mine, there's 2 sets of teammates, both between Von Bell and Jesse Bates, who's back up there now, and then I say 2 sets of teammates. Micah Hyde's not in my top 10 or anything, but the combination of the two is great. It's just amazing that they can both.
I never moved Bates down, not once. I left him like he was going to show up because he was going to show up.
Right.
Boy, he fell down. He was, I'm trying to think which league it was. It was one of my, I think it was the IDP, the NBC one, Gary, that we did, or that we all did. I think.
The one where I have Martinez?
Shocker. I think he's my defensive back. I think he's my DB4 in that league. So it was pretty exciting there. But all right, so let's see. It's about 8:35 right now.
So before we go, Bob and Gary, because I've not asked you two yet. Defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, defensive rookie of the year?
IDP rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year. Yeah, who you got?
It's Hutchinson for me.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you too.
If Thibodeau would be healthy all year, I think he would have a shot.
He's going to push him, right? If he's healthy.
But Hutchinson by far. I don't see anyone else. No, he's the one everyone's going to be watching.
Here's my question: is so I know the way that we're answering this is the way is as if it was a rookie of the year voting, and in this is the case is sacks are going to be paramount over everything else. If we're talking about highest finish amongst their peers, do we still think it's Aiden Hutchinson, or do you think maybe it's someone like you like Kyle Hamilton? We like Nick Cross, where I think Nick Cross can finish as a low-end DB2 overall. I have a hard time putting Aiden Hutchinson as my defensive line 2 as high as where Nick Cross could be. But I don't know if that's – go ahead.
Here's the thing. Your defensive backs don't carry the relative value that an impact defensive lineman does. And that's where I would be on Hutchinson too. I think we're going to have some good linebackers, and there may be a great one that emerges as the season moves on. Maybe Quay Walker turns out to be absolutely the real deal, and the Packers play a lot more nickel snaps. Or maybe Devin Lloyd, the time he missed in camp turns out to be nothing, and he winds up having more tackles than a Lewican. I mean, those are not impossible. Maybe Nakobe Dean gets into the lineup and just goes crazy.
If
Hutchinson just seems so pro ready to me that I feel like he's 45 tackles and 8 or 9 sacks is not an unreasonable expectation for him, and that's a solid DL too from a rookie.
Walker and Lloyd look pro ready. I mean, Walker's looked good on the field, and even Lloyd in those snaps that he had against what was it, Atlanta? I mean, he had some hops. He almost had the interception. I know he might have tipped it, but he made some plays that look all right. Maybe he's good to go.
Man,
Sean mentions
really like Lloyd down
Trayvon Walker, which I talked about as a deep, dark horse. If it was total like true defensive value to a team, because I think there's a talk that he's going to move inside and play in run D a little bit more than just being on the edge, but that will never translate into IDP superstardom or votes for the best player from our perspective, because no one's looking at. No one remembers. Remember when Christian Wilkins, as a rookie, had 65 tackles? No one does. But it was true, and I made that 65 number up, but it was somewhere close to that. He's been great at that area. It's just not sexy. The sack is sexy, and it's what people want to move towards.
Like I say, if Thibodeau was healthy, then he could push him. But another guy would have been David Ajabo.
Oh, I love David Ajabo.
If he was playing a full season at full strength, I could easily see him being producing more sacks than Aiden Hutchinson.
And there's
just
not a better buy low IDP rookie right now than David Ajabo, because he's going to set the whole year, and you can get him for dirt cheap right now. And what he's fixing to do when he comes back is going to be amazing.
That's what
the best value is there.
Exactly. And he's on.
I know Taxi, but how many owners are going to be patient enough to sit on him for a year? I mean,
I don't think you're going to have to sit on him for a year. I think he'll play this year.
Do you think so?
Gary's right. He raises his hand. I'm there, but it's what have you done for me lately? It's the shiny new toys, and we all know when 2023 hits, if Ajabo sits there for a year,
Yep.
dirt cheap.
He's going to play. He's going to play this year. He's obviously not going to be at full speed. To me, it would be kind of like the defensive version of Cam Akers. I think everyone, Cam Akers to me is a buy low type of guy. I know we're not talking offense, but I think, man, he's going to be at full speed this year, and he's going to outproduce his ADP. That's going to be a Jabo next year. I mean, this year he will play, but next year, opposite of Oway, with that secondary, man, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
and then you got Travis Jones on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right.
Ravens are starting to run out of edge rushers.
yeah, they are. They're hurting a little bit. Man, what if Blake Martinez ends up there?
That's what
Yeah.
that was the
That's my
one of those preferred.
second favorite spot.
I mean,
Chargers
they
won
were
for
right
you?
there. I mean, they were
Chargers.
I mean, for Bobby Wagner, I mean,
Mhm.
they were the team that it was between the Ravens and the Rams, and Bobby Wagner went with the Rams.
Well,
So-
Josh
Martinez,
Bynes is 52 years old,
Right.
and Patrick Queen just hasn't been what they
Can't
expected.
tackle.
Exactly.
So, and Blake Martinez can do that. He might not. And
Yes.
He'll tackle you 5 yards down the line, but he'll get the
Whatever.
tackle.
I've seen a lot on Twitter today that he's terrible in coverage. He's not terrible. I mean, he's not great, but he's not.
He's not great,
Tate Crowder is terrible.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly. So, guys, I don't want to have to steer this car back into the garage, but unfortunately,
Well, don't
you
do it
guys
then.
can keep talking. Well, I have
He's got a
20
draft.
minutes. I have a draft that is Gary. You and Bob, I don't think heard the makeup of this draft, and it's crazy. It is an auction, no cap, real money draft. Meaning,
Whoa.
there's no fantasy fake dollar. It's dollar for dollar.
Real money
With-
means put up or shut up, baby.
And there is a salary cap technically because it's $999 because Yahoo doesn't go above that. So you can't spend. And I'll tell you, last year there was a person that got awful close to that number. And I'm terrified of it because it makes me sick.
Does the
No,
money that
I
you
mean-
spend, does it go into the pot?
Yes. All
Yes.
of it.
Oh,
When
no,
the guy
I'm
who
spending
won it all. So I ended up second last year. And I won I basically got my money back plus a little bit more because it pays out weekly high points. So it's
Okay.
broken up into 18 different ways, maybe 19. 17 weeks, high points breaks up that. And then the final two is first place overall and second place overall get another cut of it. So the guy who won overall, won the most weeks and the total points, because it's not head to head, it's just total points each week, took home close to $6,000, $5,000, I think is what it was.
I'm betting
Dang.
900. I'm spending $999. I ain't-
Damn.
I,
All right,
I
perfect.
am too, man. I'm going New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, baby.
Right.
I'm buying.
I am accepting. Hey, that's the only reason I'm doing this. This
if
isn't a
you
pod.
let me-
This is a
if you
recruitment.
If you let me go into a draft like that and you're like, wait, so I can outspend my fellow owners and get better players? Well,
Yeah.
I'll be eating ramen and macaroni and cheese and whatever. And I'm going to get good players.
So that sounds
Grilled
like I
cheese
have
and peanut butter and
recruited-
jelly sandwiches.
Oh,
Whatever.
Yeah,
hell
it's
yeah.
going to be it's going to be a few months of Natty Light instead of Bud
Oh,
Light.
gosh, I'll be
That's
financing
exactly,
Lamar
Gary.
Jackson.
Exactly. That's why I have you here, guys. I have a proposition. It's like Step Brothers when I'm doing Prestige Worldwide. This is
Oh,
my
You
I'll be
Oh, is
taking
this your
a bank
pitch?
loan for
You
Lamar.
want some money?
yes.
Don't even get me
When you-
started on Step Brothers. Don't even.
when you tell the wife it's not gambling, it's an investment in your future.
She doesn't know exactly how it's broken down.
Well, then don't tell her.
Tell her.
Well, hopefully she doesn't watch this. But she knows all you four are on here, so she probably is. But she also knows that when you make money, and luckily I've been blessed that I've been lucky enough to win these years where it's not coming out. She gets a nice little gift out of the whole deal.
Right.
It's a win-win.
You want to make an omelet? You got to break some eggs.
Break some eggs.
Damn right, exactly. And she wants to eat an omelet in Italy in 2 years, so that's
so
what
you
our
got to
plan
break.
is.
Then you got to break 999 eggs.
Hey, Nate, you need to holler to Gary and I for that league next year. Is it done in person? How do you?
No,
all
it's
do that?
online.
Okay, you need
I
to.
do it.
All right, give us a
I
shout.
don't. I mean, if my old lady found out I was gambling $1,000 on a fantasy league, she whooped my ass. But yeah, I'm still in.
Absolutely.
It is.
She's gonna whoop my ass anyway, so I might as well
Exactly.
Enjoy it.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know.
Oh, it's not enjoyable. It is. It is so
Oh, it's
far from
enjoyable.
enjoyable.
I got 3 times the budget of some of these other suckers. They've been like 42.
So here's the thing.
57.
One of the guys in the league last year sold his house like a month before and got like 120 in equity back from his house. So he wasn't getting outbid by anybody. 2 others own like an insurance brokerage, and another 2 own this. They have deeper pockets than me. In fact, my team name is Shallow Pockets, but I've got the one thing they don't have is you guys and everybody else in the community that they bounce ideas off of. And I think I'm smarter than the others, and that's my downfall.
Is it IDP?
You
No,
know
it's
what
not
I'll do?
IDP. Fuck, no, it's not IDP. It's,
Okay.
hell no. It's 9-team Superflex PPR with bonus for like 300 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. And
Oh wow, super flex! I bet them
Super flex.
go for
So yeah, I'll tell you, last year it started off, the first bid was Justin Herbert, and the market is the market. There is no market. It's set by the first bid, and nobody knows each year. He went for $51, and I missed out on him, and I was pretty upset because Josh Allen was nominated 2 quarterbacks later, and he went for 150 roughly.
Jesus.
Russell Wilson
3
was
times. Wow.
Yep, Russell was like 100. I got Jonathan Taylor for 50. Did well.
Oh.
Justin Jefferson was 75. Russell Wilson was 100. Yes. Quarterback started going.
You said it was 9 teams? 9?
It's 9 teams, yeah, because you don't need it. It's not head to head. We had a team drop out.
So you have to buy the superstars. I mean, that's your only chance.
There's a couple. So I have a couple plans in place that I won't mention right now, but I will mention after.
There's going to be so many guys available, though. Give me just a few superstars. I mean, if there are guys,
so exactly, there's 135 players that are going to be drafted. So there's going to be, but each transaction is $5 as well. So that gets built in, and yeah, it starts adding up.
Expensive.
Yeah. So
I love it.
my PayPal is at Nate Markham. Venmo is at the bottom. If you like what
Start a
we've told,
GoFundMe.
I need
Yeah,
a
exactly.
GoFundMe.
For your first nomination, nominate Antonio Gibson and just get him out of the way.
Yeah,
Daddy needs a Italian
that's definitely-
vacation. A go.
So let's do this. Everybody, we're going to go ahead and jump out of here for now. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next week.